Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Rewind, episode number 43 for Tuesday, April 7th, 2026. Marty Sleva here, joined by Darren Mooney, Jack Packard, and producer Eric with a chock-a-block episode. I use that word without fully knowing if it's a real word or what it means. Chock-a-block. Darren, is that a real word?
Why am I feeling this one? I believe it is.
You're better with words than Jack and I.
Yeah, that's fair. You're right. That's what you do. You don't.
But my whole theory about words are jazz, and you can make up words, which probably
also true. Also true.
Yeah. Well, very Suicide Squad. His name is letters. All names are letters. Energy here.
All words are made up. But yeah, we have a great show for y'all today. As you can see, our main topic, all three of us have ventured outside the Mushroom Kingdom into the Super Mario Galaxy, and we have lived to tell about it. So we'll be talking about that. We'll be touching on some news in the world of Elden Ring. This Elden Ring movie got sneaky sets. People just stumble upon sneaky sets. Jack, how come we can't walk around Wisconsin and stumble upon sneaky movie sets?
Back in the day, Wisconsin did have a tax incentive to film here, and like 3 governors ago, we got rid of it because no one was using it. Like Transformers 4 used it, and that was it.
Oh, that's right. I remember they showed the museum on the lake, right?
They showed the Calatrava. Yeah. And Public Enemies was the Johnny Depp.
That's right. I remember it was like, yeah. I remember that had like a casting call when I was in college.
Yes.
And a bunch of my friends were like, "We're going to be in the movie," and I'm like, "No, you're not."
I like to think that the Wisconsin Museum of the Moving Image has like, has like the Jack Rayner card that is, "I'm allowed to sleep with a 17-year-old girl" in it, just as a monument.
Yeah, that's
the cinema of Wisconsin. It's Jack Rayner and the laminated ticket he gives Mark Wahlberg in Transformers 4 Age of Extinction.
What if Elden Ring was filmed in Wisconsin? Would you be happy about that? Sad about that? Worried about that?
I would be sad about it because I would want to get on set and I would not be able to. So, so that would make
film
it
the Kaled scenes inside of like Sheboygan.
That would make it way too close to me, and that would make me upset. So now it's far away. I saw the set pictures. I also I read a little bit that it was Alex Garland that pitched this movie. It wasn't like shopped around. He was like, I have an idea for Elden Ring, and that makes me even more excited for the Elden Ring movie.
A longtime lover of video games. He's I think he wrote on like DMC and Enslaved back in the day. So the news about this, like we mentioned, 2 little bits of news. One, someone on TikTok was just wandering apparently outside of London, just like wandering in a field, and came upon a fence without anyone in it. Like no one guarding the fence, and right on the other side of the fence was clearly a Church of America, which if anyone played Elden Ring will know this is a location you visit several times throughout the game, and it's just out there in the field. And apparently the movie is set to start filming, I believe, this month, and so we're starting to get some drips of reports of who's joining the cast. Nothing official, but the World of Real, which is a site that does some usually pretty
very
accurate reporting. Very reputable.
Doesn't cite any sources generally as a rule.
Listen, they don't need to cite anyone when they live in the World of Real.
Ooh,
listen, World of Real was the first place that told me.
L to be clear on this for a reality check.
They were the ones who broke the news that licorice pizza was going to be called licorice pizza. So once you do that, doesn't matter how many lies. Doesn't matter how many lies you tell.
You can recast Batman in the DCU as often as you want. You've written your own meal ticket there,
yeah. But they did say that apparently Nick Offerman has joined the cast. Unsurprising considering that he played the president in Alex Garland's previous film, Civil War. And they also just offhandedly mentioned that Kaylee Spaney, who was also in Civil War and was the lead in the last Alien movie, and Ben Whishaw and Kit Connor are going to be in the movie. And they expect, if this is actually going to camera this month, that we're probably gonna get a lot of actual official casting news. Which is exciting. We're gonna obviously talk about a very different video game movie soon, but like in terms of this, like Jack, where's your anticipation slash hope level for this?
Okay, so like I like Alex Garland. I think he's written some phenomenal movies. I also like the idea of like what they were doing with the Fallout TV show, where they just kind of use the pre-built universe but tell their own story within it. And Elden Ring being an RPG, like that's kind of what the FromSoft games are known for. Is we got a universe, you tell us how you play the game, you tell us how you finish the game. And so theoretically we're going to get something very similar where we just get a little bit of story within the Elden Ring universe. And obviously one of my favorite games. So my excitement level is darn near palpable. Is darn near like, oh, I am almost willing to allow myself to get excited, and I don't like doing that.
Yeah,
so
especially for video game movies.
Especially for video game movies.
Darren, I know you're a big Alex Garland fan. I don't think you've played Elden Ring, but how are you feeling about this?
I mean, I think we've talked about this before, but my general perspective is that we are kind of in that like sweet spot for video game adaptations, which is kind of where comic book adaptations were, say, 20 to 25 years ago, which is Hollywood has figured out it can make a bunch of money off these things. They're at the stage where they still think they maybe need to be good, and they need to actually put effort into making them good in order to justify the expense. We'll talk about another video game movie in a second where that may or may not be the case. But there is a sense of like having to prove the value of this thing, and you do that by hiring artists. And we think, of course, Bryan Singer, who should be in prison, directed the first X-Men movies, but like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movies, Christopher Nolan's Batman movies. I think video games, like you have Zach Cregger's Resident Evil, which I am excited about. And this is very much in the same wheelhouse of just like, we have given this director who has a very strong style, a very strong perspective, and a very clear set of interests, a reasonably large budget and a piece of intellectual property to work through. And our constraint seems to be do whatever you want. Yes. Like just make a you movie within the framework of this intellectual property, and that is what we want from it. And I'm like, yeah, that is pretty great. It reminds me a lot of like what the early kind of like golden age of like the superhero boom felt like. And it does worry me that like in 15 years time we'll be getting a reboot of Elden Ring to do it right or something like that. But I'm gonna enjoy this while it lasts.
Well, because in 15 years they'll want to, start the Elden Ring shared universe, the FromSoft cinematic universe,
the HBO the 9-season series. Got some young child as Mikola, who's just going to
which uses the same aesthetic of the Alex Garland.
We're like, why are we making this?
But will be entirely more video game accurate and will be like 10 times as long, so you're all good.
90-year-old George Clooney has signed on to a 9-picture deal, and you're like, I don't know if you're gonna make it, dude. Like, that's a lot of movies. This one, I'm also excited for this. And like you mentioned, Jack, you brought up Fallout, and from everything we've heard, the Resident Evil adaptation coming later this year by Zach Cregger feels like it's in a similar boat of they almost are trying to go for the feel of playing the game as opposed to adapting the story one-to-one, because these are games, Resident Evil is a little bit of a different thing, but like Resident Evil story, I love Resident Evil. Its story is not why I have ever played those games. Right. But, Elden Ring and Fallout especially are like very experiential. Like the stories are less... some of the stories are these stories written in the game, but a lot of the stories that you remember are the stories of like, man, I went in here, I did X, Y, and Z, and I did not expect this to happen.
Exactly.
And I think Fallout broke the logic of the game by killing this character too early. Please help me.
Yeah. It like almost feels like something that could be put in the movie. So less of an adaptation of like, again, we'll get to this pretty soon with Mario. Like, at no point does Mario Galaxy feel like playing a Mario game. I don't know how to translate that into film. I think that's a little bit tougher, but Mario Galaxy to me does not feel like playing Mario Galaxy or playing the Mario game, if that makes any sense. But quick, before we get there, a couple super chats. Thank you so much. As you see, our current goal is the Nick's Prince of Persia first time playthrough of the old Xbox trilogy. And as a reminder, we have met our past 2 goals. Jack and I, along with Eric, will be doing our Breath of the Wild stream 1 week from this moment right now.
That's
So
right.
at normal rewind time next week, Tuesday the 14th, we will be having a big old streaming extravaganza where Jack and I, with the help of Eric, will be doing our Breath of the Wild bingo stream. Pretty much both of us running out into the world and trying to solve a bunch of tasks while competing in Lockout Bingo. We have a whole format. It's going to look different than any other stream we've done so far, but we're very excited for that. Thank you for funding that. And of course, our
Looks to be a breath of fresh air.
I like it. I see what you did there. I don't want to talk to you about Breath of the Wild because I bet you know how to get on a horse in Breath of the Wild, and you're just going to brag to me because I don't know how to get on a horse in Breath of the Wild. I think it's overrated. I think horses are dangerous.
And they are at the center of the bingo card is mental horse.
We were kind of talking. I'm like, can we not? Are we allowed to veto certain things? Like how you could veto like jurors in a trial?
Yeah.
Be like, we can't have this horse. Can't have this horse on the stand.
I've been adding, Marty and I are kind of like putting in all the stuff that we want on bingo cards, and I'm adding a lot of horse-centric options, hoping that they come up in the random
horseplay.
There will be horseplay. And then, of course, Saturday the 25th, we'll be doing our all-day Dokapon. We'll be hopefully finishing that game. So thank you all for funding that. But, of course, the current Super Chat's going to that new goal. Quintuple with a $5 dono. Thank you so much. Darren, A+ on the animation of the money circling between Oracle OpenAI and NVIDIA.
I need to put my hands up and say that is actually a Daily Show clip. To be clear, it is a very illustrated, and also the one that follows it is, I believe, an NBC news clip as well, illustrating where all the money goes. To be fair, it is a very good clip. It's very effective. I only used it for 2 seconds, but yeah, I stolen valor on that one, I'm afraid. But an incredible, a very illustrative clip. If anybody remembers what it is, it's the purple circles about the funding of AI and how interconnected they all are. But yeah. So thank you very much. I apologize for the stolen valor.
That's what this was. This was stolen valor. That's
fun AI fact for anyone who read it. I know this came in after Darren, you got your video done, but Microsoft Copilot, the AI helper in Microsoft, that Microsoft has forced into everybody's life, they had to officially say is for entertainment uses only.
Yeah,
that's almost like the Fox News thing. Like, this is entertainment. This isn't news. Don't worry.
It didn't again, I deal with like lawyers and stuff because I studied law, so I have like lots of friends who are in the field, and there's a whole bunch of horror stories you hear about, like, first of all, people in very prominent companies just dumping crap into the AI in like a way that's like, you guys have no awareness of how privacy works, all the like EU regulations you are violating by putting your customers and clients' details in there. You are so exposed by that. But also like just really basic stuff like people using Copilot to the example that I was talking to one of them was like somebody at the law firm, which will remain nameless, using it to manage their inbox, and the AI deciding the most efficient way to, Jack's nodding because he knows where this is going, the most efficient way to manage the inbox was just to delete everything in it, because that gets an inbox count of 0, which is the perfect inbox. And they're like, all of my information was in there.
Yes.
Honestly, it does sound kind of refreshing to start at 0.
That does sound great. But
we found the one use of AI that I'm kind of interested in.
With a bunch of presumable lawsuits pending towards Microsoft and Copilot, they had to make an official statement that says Copilot, our flagship AI that we want everyone to use, is for entertainment purposes only. We do not use it for anything serious.
Yeah, it is a liability nightmare talking to like solicitors and stuff.
That there's going to be a Into the Wild remake where he's like, AI told me to go burn my Social Security card and live in a van in the middle of nowhere. No, we've been covering this on Firelink. There was the CEO of a giant game publisher, Krafton, who are publishing Subnautica 2. He wanted to get rid of the leaders of Subnautica 2 because they were going to owe them a shit ton of money if the game released on time. And so he kept asking ChatGPT, how do I get out of this contract? And like everyone around him was like, you need to stop doing this. He's like, shut up. How do we get around it? And ChatGPT came up with a thing called Project X. And it was like a 10-step plan to like oust these guys for no reason. And I'm like, if your thing is called Project X, it's probably evil.
It's probably evil. Yeah.
People don't name like nice things. Like, we're going to go plant 1,000 trees. Let's call it Project X. No
given how like that is trained on like Reddit and stuff like that, I'm also not sure I want to ask like the collective brain of Reddit how to get rid of like 2 people.
Yeah, really funny.
Yeah.
Incredibly silly. Minduel, thank you so much for the $2 dono. My favorite scene in the Mario Galaxy movie was Waluigi's Cirque du Soleil dance. You joke. I would have loved if this movie had like a 5-minute a silent scene, no dialogue, of just Waluigi doing a nice dance.
I mean, not to get too into it, but like the movie being a loose collection of references in lieu of story, they might as well gone hard with more references.
I like that you're pitching it like it should have been an art house like reference movie. We should have forsaken plot completely and just been like, what if it's David Lynch, but it's all just referencing things that you recognize? They were woman in the radiator. It's Waluigi. Yeah,
they were taking up valuable minutes with this facade of a plot. Just get rid of it and continue making references.
Let's talk about it now. Let's get into it. The Super Mario Galaxy movie, the sequel to I guess 3 years after the original movie. All the same creative crew is back with this one, and it is called Super Mario Galaxy. Pulls some iconography from those two games. Doesn't really adapt them, but
how do you adapt a Mario movie? Mario game is not really plot based.
No, exactly. So that's not something I had a problem with. Jack, you saw this last night, right?
Just last night.
I think you were the harshest of us, maybe, on the original one. Like you really disliked the original.
You saw that last night. Yeah.
I was actively mad at both you and Darren for giving the first movie any amount of praise.
Well, I mean, I think my praise was basically this allows Universal to justify giving Christopher Nolan however much money he wants.
Yeah, not worth it. Not worth it.
I was there for the potential. I was like, this is my childhood manifest, and maybe they can keep the good times rolling.
I was very, very harsh on the first one. And so the power of expectations being what they are, because I went in thinking this was going to be a facade of a plot and a loose connection of references to video game stuff, that's kind of what I got. And so I was kind of like, I was looking at this as a YouTube compilation of cutscenes in Mario video games. And I went, okay, I guess it is kind of that. Like, for example, and, I'm not going to care about spoilers for this movie as a heads up.
We don't have to put the spoiler thing up here. It's fine. Listen, there's one big spoiler. Nintendo just a week ago was like, Fox is in the movie.
Fox McCloud is in the movie.
Glenn Powell's past couple of movies have underperformed, so guess what?
No, and so Fox McCloud and crew land on a dinosaur planet, and I'm very upset that we did not get a reference to Star Fox Adventures, the failed GameCube game.
Yeah,
I was really thinking we would see one of the characters from that like pop up from a bush and be like, "Wait!" And so that's the level I was operating on while watching this movie. Is the plot is incircumstantial. I'm a person who has said many times that all entertainment derives from the buildup and release of tension. So what a remarkable movie to create absolutely zero tension whatsoever.
Can I just I'm hesitant about this being an actual argument about the Super Mario Galaxy movie. I will say,
what?
As I rewatched the first one, because I'm a professional. I rewatched the first one before going to this one.
Nice.
I like to go in with my head kind of clear and stuff like that. And I will say, like, I was quite surprised, and I want to be clear, but the standards are, as Marty said, rock bottom, right? My expectations are rock bottom, right? So for the first, let's say 30, 40 minutes of the Super Mario Galaxy movie, I'm sitting there and I'm skeptical going in.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden, like, Jack, to your point about like expecting plot from this, like, all of a sudden I'm like, wait, are things actually happening in this movie? Because you have this idea of, Mario is like attracted to Peach and he's got to work up the courage to tell her. He gets her a little gift. I'm like, that is a rudimentary character arc that you set up. It's the first act of a movie. You put the gun on the mantelpiece, the gun in this case being a pink umbrella. It's like, you're going to pay off that character beat, right? And then you got Bowser, and Bowser's like, I'm reformed. I'm still angry, but I'm reformed. And I'm like, I can see what they're going to do here. They're either going to A, play the joke of Mario doesn't trust him, but he's actually reformed, or B, have him reveal that he is not reformed and it's all an elaborate prank. One of those two things, which would also be a character arc that you've thrown into the air in the first act of the movie. And even like, I will say, not setting much of this movie in Brooklyn really helped, because like I don't watch a Mario Brothers movie to see it set in Brooklyn. That was one of my problems with the first movie. So this movie, to its credit, does actually, like Marty mentioned the idea of like, how do you adapt a Mario movie? There are, in that opening like 30, 40 minutes, I thought some surprisingly like really, don't want to say beautiful because expectations are on the floor. I'm not comparing it to like Studio Ghibli or Pixar or even like the Spider-Verse movies or anything like Sony Pictures Animation do, right? But I thought there was like some really nice animation in the opening like half hour. Like the use of shadow, and particularly the decision, because it's a galaxy movie, you need to have stars in the sky, so it needs to be at night. So you have some really nice lighting effects and shadow effects. And there's like a really beautiful moment where I was kind of like, for like 2.5 minutes, maybe 3.5 minutes, I was kind of locked into the movie, where it's like when Mario and Peach are on top of the castle and they're looking up at the sky, and like the lights stream overhead and you get the reaction shots, and it's like, oh, we are actually doing something that I associate with the Mario games, which is showing me something that blows my mind and is really wonderful and magical and is treated in the Mario games entirely earnestly. Like that's the thing. One of my big issues with the two movies is that like the Mario, that's exactly the shot, Eric. But like it's
just the
Aldani
heist. I already saw that show.
That's exactly it. It's the eye. They're looking up at the eye. But like the thing about like the Mario games, having played them as a kid, is that like they are wondrous and they are magical and they show you things that you don't expect. And they're not self-aware. They're not cynical. They're not goofy. They're not constantly making jokes at their own expenses. And one of my big issues with the first movie is that it is modern, like self-aware humor where they're like, oh, that happened, you know? Chris Pratt's like, oh, you got giant piranhas in these pipes. What's going on here? And I'm like, you don't need to, don't do that. Just show me the world of the thing. And for like those 3 minutes, I realize this is the scantest praise possible. I am trying to be nice before I am harsh. For those 3 minutes, as the light streams overhead and you get the lovely shot of like the characters wandering off like into the woods in search of the fallen star. And even like after that, the little shot of the little baby star tucked up on the couch with a little blanket over it where Peach is serving it tea. And I'm like, this is actually kind of what I want from a Mario Brothers movie, is like all of this imagery, which is, or was when I was a kid, so strange and so bizarre and so surreal, but also weirdly sincere. Despite that, I was like, I am kind of locked into this. And then the movie just like immediately hard pivots back to making cheap gags, making pointed references, alluding to pop culture that is clearly aimed at 40-year-olds rather than at kids, and like just refusing to have any drama whatsoever, where the resolution of that like Mario needs to tell Peach that he likes her plot is she uses the umbrella to fly really high, and that's how we pay off that reference. The Bowser subplot, which is about this idea of Bowser dealing with the traumatic relationship between him and his child, consists of, well, I'm with my kid now, I guess I'm evil again. That's fine. And like nothing in this movie has any real like plot or character arc or focus. And like this is the thing where people are immediately going to say, well, why are you going to a Super Mario Brothers movie expecting plot or story or character arcs? And it's like, I'm not expecting them, but you set them up. You set the you put a plate in front of me and put like 3 knives and 3 forks either side of it. It's not my problem that I come in and expecting you to serve me food. Like I am not the one making a mistake here. If you're not going to,
Princess Peach throughout the movie, like, you know, sets up that she doesn't know where she came from, and she would sure like to know where she comes from. And I want to say it's the very next scene that she is in that she reads a book explaining where she came from. But that's a complete character arc by the standards of this movie. Like that's an A+ grade on the curve. Bowser gets like the movie spends so long setting up Bowser's shtick and Bowser's relationship and then doesn't pay it off whatsoever. The movie spends so long highlighting like Mario needs to tell Peach how he feels about her and then doesn't reference it at all. Like there is we mentioned the Fox McCloud thing. There's a very evocative, revealing kind of beat where, like, Peach has gone to go into the galaxy and Mario's gone after her, and she has found Han Solo style, a big furry fox played by, like, Glenn Powell, right? Yes.
And obviously, it's Glenn Powell. He's massively charismatic. Mario is like chasing after Peach, waiting to tell Peach that he likes her. The obvious character beat to do here, and you don't have to do it, but the obvious character beat here is Peach wants to fuck Fox, and Mario has to deal with that. And it's like, that might actually be a fun thing to do, because you're in a video game world where it makes no sense. So sure, why not? And you have the moment where like Mario and Fox lock eyes, and there's are they going to be competitors with one another? Is there going to be this weird romantic triangle between the three of them? And then they're just like, hey, I love you too, man, we're friends, let's hang out. And it's like, you don't have to be clear. You do not have to do the romantic triangle subplot. You do not have to have character drama between them. But if you tease me with the possibility of there being something involving those three characters in the movie, and your punchline to that is go, nope, nothing at all, you have to do something. You don't have to do what you told me. You don't have to do what you teased, but you gotta do something. You can't just go, we were going to do something, and then we didn't. Which is like why I find this movie so deeply frustrating. And obviously, like, people are gonna say, like, why do you care about the story? But like, I'm not comparing this to Citizen Kane. I'm not comparing this to The Godfather. I'm not even comparing this to Project Hail Mary. I'm comparing this to like Barbie. I'm comparing this to the Lego movie. I'm comparing this to the Minions movies. That's where I'm at. And nothing.
Grew and whatnot.
The
way,
franchise really grew on me.
If you look at like Despicable Me as compared to this, and like the long and complex bi-relation character arc that Gru goes on, it's a goddamn Pixar masterpiece. A bit, which I hate saying. But this is the exact problem, which is like, Darren, you hit the nail on the head, which is we kept waiting for something to happen. It was a series of going from point A to point B. Once they got to point B, they said, actually, you need a different point B. So they had to go to a different point A to get to a different point B. And that's it. There was never a moment of doubt of a character failure. There was one moment in which Princess Peach had to ninja fight 10,000 little creatures, and generally speaking, in an action sequence, the hero loses just for a little bit, just for like, they might be overwhelmed
on the back foot. Yeah,
just for a second to create a little bit of tension and drama. And there never ever was that. Like, there was, and I want to agree with you a whole bunch. I think the entire movie looked great. I think like the animation is crisp and clean, and they even had some really imaginative set pieces. Princess Peach goes to the
3D gravity altered cube, which
inside of a 3D cube in which every wall and ceiling has its own gravity, and there is a fight sequence in that gravity cube that is also an illegal casino. And I know what you're thinking. I bet they have some amazing action set pieces that take advantage of the altering gravity and the fact that this is in a casino and inside of a cube. And no, they do not.
Because they spend their time during that scene dangling keys in front of our eyes of like, hey, remember these guys from Mario 2?
Remember Mario 2? Like that's the weird, that it's also like, to Jack's point, like, it would be interesting to do something like metatextual with that, where like you mentioned the idea of like the Star Fox failed video game. Disney are never, sorry, not Disney, but Nintendo are never going to recognize that because it would mean acknowledging failure. That's the big problem with all these corporate owned properties, is that like you're never going to acknowledge failure. Everything has to be a success. So like when they go to the casino and it's populated by, as you say, all the Super Mario 2 characters, I'm sitting there and I'm the least qualified person to talk about video gaming on this channel. But I'm sitting there and I'm going, they're referencing the infamous like skin swapped was not a Mario Brothers game. The retrofit. This is a really interesting metatextual thing to be doing. I wonder what they're going to do to explore that. And the answer is nothing.
Is nothing. But even beyond that, there are several really neat potential set pieces within the movie. Anyone who's played Super Mario Galaxy knows that the little star creatures turns into these kind of like warp points where you jump in and get catapulted somewhere else. And we can use that to do something clever or fun, and they are never used in that way. We get a gun that turns people into babies.
But it's primarily there because there was a game where Mario was a baby Jack. That's the only purpose.
And because they realized that the movie was 65 minutes long, they're like, "Ooh, we need like an extra, we need 15 minutes to get this to legal movie length."
Yoshi's here, right? So I guess we got to do a Yoshi's Island thing, right? We'll say I did actually quite like Yoshi. I don't know if I agree with Donald Glover that he deserves an Oscar for it, but like that was the thing that lured me into a false sense of security. Is like Yoshi shows up, and it's like Yoshi is actually like a fun children's movie character where he is basically he's a mime. He's silent. He can't communicate using words, but he has a personality and has to express himself physically through actions and facial expressions. So he's like an animated character who works really well for me in the context of an animated movie. And then it's just like, what does Fox do? What is the point of having Fox there?
Well, it's because it's the same. No, it's the same point as having Donkey Kong in the first movie, which is they reboot Donkey Kong into a new game for their new console. And they're going to reboot Star Fox as a new game for its new console. These aren't movies. These are commercials. They are commercials to get people excited for theme parks and to get people excited for games.
Marty, I watched the first Super Mario Brothers movie, and there is a moment like 2.5 minutes into that movie where Luigi turns the camera and says to me, the audience member, "That is not a commercial. That is cinema." And I'm sorry, Marty, I respect you, but I love Luigi.
My mistake. My mistake. I like Charlie Day saying his favorite Luigi outside of Luigi was Luigi Mangione. Saying that on the in the interview circuit, being like, "Wonder how Miyamoto thinks of that." You guys, I've been letting you guys talk because I didn't want to interrupt. You guys are underselling how bad this movie is. I saw this movie twice because I needed to make sure. I saw it once with a crowd that was jazzed, a crowd of children that were jazzed, and I'm like, maybe this is a me thing. Maybe like I wanted to like glean some of that joy off them. Yeah. And I came back and I'm like, you know what? There's some things. It has fewer needle drops. Like it uses music from the games more. And when I started going in my head, when I was like, my number one compliment of the movie is that there are fewer aha songs in it. Yes. That can't be a good sign. I saw it a second time this weekend, and I was like, just pretty much 15 minutes in, I was like, I think I want to leave the theater. I just spent $10 on this, but I think I want to leave the theater. I don't like these aren't. It reminds me of the I think you should leave skit with Coffin Flops, where he says they're telling us Coffin Flops is not a show, it's just body after body busting out of shit wood and hitting pavement. That's what this movie is. Yes. It's just body after body of references of games busting out of shit wood and hitting pavement. And like, I don't know why that somehow worked on me for the first movie, but it did not work on me for this one.
Strange being the most positive of the three of us, and I'm like,
I did not expect
three whole minutes. For
at very least, I was like, Jack's going to be angrier than I am, and no, he wasn't.
I'm angry at past Marty for liking the first movie.
So
is what I am. Yeah. Because to me, this was all the first movie, and so like, it's a giant waste. It is a giant waste of this incredibly talented animation team who could have these exact same gorgeous visuals and just a modicum of a story. Just a hint of a story would be amazing.
Like, again, we're not asking for like Citizen Kane of Mario movies, but if you could make the Lego movie work, if you could make the Lego movie feel profound and moving and sweet, if you could do Barbie and make Barbie into like a movie that feels like an event that is like resonates with kids and adults, you should at least be able to make it. I should not be watching this movie and thinking fondly of Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo. Like that is the problem with this movie.
Yeah. To the chatter, I did watch this with both of my children, who are now older teenagers, and as a point of reference, 3 years for a teenager is a long time between movies. So they came back from the first movie generally positive, like agreeing that it wasn't much, but still a fun movie. And they came out of this movie grumbling and angry.
You know what? Sometimes 3 years is also a long time in your late 30s, because apparently that happened with me as well. I also I don't like what, because we keep seeing for some reason, I guess because we constantly need some piece of art that is the line in the sand art that is you're either with us or against us on the Mario movie, when it's like I don't give a shit what you think about the Mario movie, whatever. But the argument people are making are, well, it's for kids, what do you expect? We talk about good movies for kids all the fucking time on this show,
right?
Like it's not like we live in a world where this is impossible. We don't live in some like weird dystopia where kids can't have a movie that doesn't fry your synapses. I mean,
Miyazaki is escorted out of like Studio Ghibli and handcuffs. They're like, we caught him. He won't do it again.
But just in the past like year or two, we talked about Flow, The Wow Robot, K-pop Demon Hunter, any number of Pixar movies, like these movies that like you see and you're like, oh, there's actually something here for adults and for children. We don't have to like dumb this down into. It feels like an AI movie. Like it feels like it just consumed a bunch of data. It seems like that guy asked ChatGPT or Copilot, "Hey Copilot, can you make me a Mario movie?" And this is what we got.
Yeah,
but again, like this is again. There's a whole backdrop you could watch about it, but like this is the culture that makes people think AI is good. Like that. It's not that this movie looks like AI. It's not that this movie. Don't want to denigrate the work of people who worked on it, but it's like it is the product of a culture that is like, I like seeing things that I recognize. I like being Leo in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where I want to point and see the thing that I like interacting with the other thing that I like, which is like what generative AI is designed to do. And it's like you watch the Super Mario Brothers movie, and like, again, artists worked on it, real human beings worked on it, very important to stress that. But you're like, oh yeah, I'm watching this and I can see why there is something in the collective consciousness that thinks ChatGPT and Sora is really cool, actually, and we should have more of it. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like, it is, and the thing about like the it's for kids, you're being too cynical about it argument is like, do we hold movies for kids to lower standards? Like, are we somehow supposed to be like just more accepting of whatever we put in front of children? Shouldn't we be like more discerning and more concerned about it? And then the other question, which is like the really controversial flaming hot Darren take, which I need to find a way to phrase delicately so it doesn't sound like an accusation, but it's like, these movies obviously play very well with kids. I saw it at a screening that was packed with kids. We'll say the kids were very quiet during it, which never happens. The kids were pumped full of sugar, and so I was expecting them to be running around. They were actually like watching it attentively. So it is bright colors on screen to sugar-addled brains. It seems to have worked in some sort of like post-hypnotic trance sort of way. But when I watch these movies, I'm like, are these really aimed primarily at children, or are they aimed at people my age, right? Because it's like, what 4-year-old recognizes the Super Mario Brothers rap from the first movie? What kid 4 years old wants a white linen sports coat wearing Donkey Kong listening to Aha? What kid aged 4 wants the first Mario Brothers movie to open with a reference to Kill Bill, for example? Like, I do wonder, like, is this really a movie made for kids, or is this a movie made for people who like were kids in the late 80s and want to feel the nostalgia of remembering vicariously that experience? That's something I do think about with these movies.
And we mentioned all those references, like you mentioned how the guys in the casino are from Mario 2 or Doki Doki Panic, and then the baby gun is the Super Scope, the Super Nintendo maligned accessory.
Marty, it was a very successful accessory. As you can see, Bowser Jr. uses it in the movie. We will not bear for any slander on this.
The problem, I don't know if my finger could point it. I bought the $100 Virtual Boy husk like a month ago. So like I realize I am a part of this problem. Like
the Virtual Boy is never getting referenced in one of these for the same reason that Jack's like failed Star Fox is never getting mentioned in one of these.
Listen, if they wanted to be brave, there'd be one scene in the movie that was 3D. You had to put your shitty like red 3D glasses on for the awful thing, and then everyone gets a headache halfway through the movie. I don't know. And this is making a ton of money, and we're gonna get we're gonna get a Donkey Kong spinoff movie. We're gonna get a Glenn Powell spinoff something. This does seem like it's building towards a Smash Bros. Like, all the characters are going on a mission together, kind of thing. That Zelda movie, we're probably gonna get a trailer for relatively soon. Which that at the very least isn't in the clutches of Illumination.
It's Wes Ball, the guy who did like the Maze Runner movies, which I've already forgot. I've watched like 5 times and forgotten each time. But he also did the last King of the Planet of the Apes, which I thought was very good.
Which was pretty good. It stars 2 people I don't know, which I don't know how that's become a thing. Where I'm like, hey, I don't recognize those 2 people. That could be good,
right?
That could be exciting.
I mean, when your alternative is it's Chris Pratt is playing Link, it's like those are your choices. You can have the mystery box or Chris Pratt.
If the real talk, if like the announcement for the Zelda movie, Legend of Zelda movie came out and Chris Pratt was playing Link, I would give up commentating on movies. I would 100% nope out of ever discussing movies publicly again.
I hate it.
What if, and hear me out here, Jack, Chris Pratt were tied to a chair while playing Link from like Zelda? It is insane to me that like the Super Mario Galaxy movie, as bad as it is not even the worst Chris Pratt movie of 2026 so far. It might even like struggle to hit third, like the way this year is going. But anyway.
The movie, for me, Super Mario Galaxy hit a real, what is it called? A nadir? That's like the bottom point?
The opposite of a zenith, yes.
Yes, it hit a real nadir for me when, while in the Nexus Galaxy, or the Gateway Galaxy, Super Mario Galaxy movie got tired of referencing Super Mario Brothers games and instead referenced another animated children's movie.
Zootopia?
With
the sloth.
They stole the sloth gag. Yeah,
the gag in which they go to the DMV in Zootopia and the sloth moves and talks really slow. They 1-for-1 recreated that joke, but more rushed, because as soon as you realized what joke it was, they were kind of done with it with Rob. And I turned to my children, who have also seen Zootopia. Their mouths were agape, just like. That's just a stolen joke 1-to-1. That feels like it's illegal.
It's a reference movie. You're allowed to reference things, Jack. Everything's on the table.
You can just reference other gags. Amazing.
You say that though, as if like they don't do like the Kirk and Spock thing with Rosalina and like Peach as well. Like it is very a Terminator 2 thing where Bowser goes in like the molten lava and stuff. Like it is very referential. Sorry.
I will accept a reference. I will accept a thumbs up in lava. That is a throwaway gag. That is not
like transcended. Sequence. That's just in pop culture now.
That's just in pop. Hands touching each other to create some sort of magic. That is well beyond
True
Star
glass.
Trek. That is,
okay.
Yes, that is everything. That is in a lot of places. This was the exact sloth gag recreated with perfect timing. Like this was a joke. This was a theft.
I do like that you're like, who could I call about this? Like, it's like there must be a line.
Call my congressman to tell them get this robot off that screen.
It's one of those things.
Beverly Hills Police Department. I like to report a robbery.
that is a thing where like if someone references you, if someone homages towards you, like that's always lovely. But if I wrote that sequence in Zootopia, I would be legitimately pissed. Like I came up with this really funny joke. And you just took it. Amazingly callous of whomever wrote the Rob sequence. Like that's where I got legitimately upset. Is just like, no, that was a funny comedy bit in a movie that already exists. That because the robot is slow, you just stole. Fuck you.
I love that that's the moment where you go, I think these Super Mario Brothers movie guys, they may be a little bit lazy. They may not be entirely artistically integral when it comes to the construction of a movie.
This is the kind of negativity I wanted.
Like to me,
feed me.
I'm just Palpatine right now.
Well, that's where it crossed the line. That's where it crossed the line for me to just like, okay, yeah, this is garbage. This is jangling keys, which is something I've heard a lot of people talk about, of just like, look at the thing, into genuinely like, if you are in the Writers Guild of America, call your representative because shit. like that. And I actually didn't notice. My oldest noticed the amount of times in which they repeated or said something out loud that they were also showing in case someone is watching this while on their phone. They discover a secret wall, and we can clearly see that this is a secret wall, and Peach runs her hands over it, and then Toad goes, "Oh my God, that's a secret wall." As if we didn't just see that. And then Peach sticks her hand through again and says, "I think you're right. This is definitely a secret wall. In order to catch the man who stole your backpack, we should go through this secret wall." And it was disheartening.
Yeah.
All we were doing on the car ride home was then coming up with iconic visual moments in movies that would have to be rewritten for Gen Alpha.
Did you watch the Oscars?
No, I didn't.
They had a bit like that. Conan had Sterling K. Brown on, and they redid a scene from Casablanca where it's like he's playing the piano, and they keep having to reference, there might be Nazis here, because it's World War II. He said something like, of all the gin joints in the world, she walks into mine, and he's like, yeah, I know, it's crazy because there's so many bars in the world, and it's crazy that she walked into the one you own, and you guys used to date.
One of my favorites was we came up with Terminator 2 when the T-1000 melts through the bars. Is like you cut to like Linda Hamilton going, "Oh my God, that liquid metal robot from the future just walked right through the bars."
Mom, why aren't we running?
It's because Or like in Jurassic Park, "Oh my God, you did it. You made dinosaurs. I know you said you would do it, but I did not believe you. But now that I see the dinosaurs in front of me in all their spectacular wonder, I am shocked."
Yeah.
You crazy son of a bitch. You probably found some amber mosquitoes and drained some blood and run the RNA sequences and cloned it from them. You son of a bitch, you did it.
I mean, that's just a Netflix movie. We're not being that.
Well, no, I mean, like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck talk about it, but like this is a movie for theaters, and like to Jack's point, it's a movie that is entirely visual based. Like the pointing is visual. Like it doesn't work if you're not watching the screen. You can't point at what's on screen if you're not watching the screen, which is it's a real belt and suspenders, but like they're both razor wire. Like it's really
100%. Like and so like basically it's just like the movie starts like compounding on all of the negative aspects of modern filmmaking, which is like the lack of story, the blatant stealing of jokes, the Netflixification of people on their phones, so they have to repeat plot points and say the things we are currently looking at. It is I mean, like, I don't want to say it's a full abomination, but it is quite possibly a definition for every problem with modern movies.
Good.
Is that neat enough, everybody? This is it. This is these. If you are in film school right now, this is your senior thesis highlighting why the Super Mario Galaxy movie is every single problem with modern Hollywood.
It's great because I'm imagining like in like 2045, like the next Paul Thomas Anderson about to win the Best Actor Oscars, like sitting down in a chat show going, and I walked into my first day of film school and I was going to a screenwriting class. The screenwriter says, "Hey, if you guys are here to write the next Super Mario Galaxy movie, I want you to leave right now." And I was like, that's when I left film school, and look at my career now, baby. It's like, I do want to write the next Super Mario Galaxy movie.
Right.
Okay, so for anyone who thinks that we are joyless husks of humans, we, in the next sequence, when we're talking about all the other stuff we've been watching, I know there are things in there that we've enjoyed.
Yes.
I know for a fact that there are things that we've watched this week that we did enjoy.
I do also feel kind of bad about being mean about and I really liked Project Hail Mary. I feel like if I could go back to like 2 weeks ago and talk about Project Hail Mary again, I'd be like, this is the salvation.
We were young, we were naive.
Yeah,
it was March. No, I kind of agree.
We
I would have saved a little bit of that energy.
Adventure. Yeah,
would have saved a little bit of energy for this week. let's go over these. A bunch of super chats came in. I think a lot of them will have little deviations into the Mario world. Blue Team, thank you so much with a $5 dono. This was before the Mario segment. What film scenes do you think of when a director went in God mode, as in like a scene where the director just went off the chain, like absolutely insane? I do think of I do think the Do Lung sequence from Apocalypse Now is Francis Ford Coppola's best work. I mean, Coppola probably has a handful. I mean, it's almost hard to just think of. It's like it's easier if you give me a director to think of. I don't think any scene in the Mario Galaxy movie went God mode. I will say.
The mirror
like,
sequence.
Those 3 minutes went like. What's like lower than a demigod? Like what's like if like
a
Hercules,
lesser deity?
Yeah, priest mode.
Went like lay clergy mode. But yeah.
But again, you just liked it because it kind of was like that one really cool episode of Andor.
Yeah, pretty much.
That just got me thinking. What if I just watched Andor?
To me, yeah, when they pander to me, it's good. You mentioned God mode. A weird one to shout out is the sequence, the revenge sequence from Steve Jobs, which is a sequence I think about a lot, which is sequence where he's talking to is it Jeff Daniels in the corridor, and they're talking about like the breakdown of their relationship, and it is obviously it's not a single long that's the sequence exactly, but it's set to like Steve Pemberton's Revenge, which runs 8 minutes, and it's the story of this entire relationship between these two guys that is like beautifully cut together, beautifully scored, beautifully performed, and becomes this kind of like Oedipal Greek tragedy, which is just incredible. I like Steve Jobs a lot, but that moment in that film is a point where I was like really, really, really elevating. I do also want to shout out, I also agree with Colin Farrell. I really like the scene in Everything Everywhere All at Once where they turn into rocks, because it's just such a low key. It's like the opposite of like what you expect a God mode moment to be, where it's like you expect a director just going full maximalist spectacle, and instead Everything Everywhere All at Once, which has been so loud to that point, so dynamic and so overwhelming, just cuts to silence and a pair of rocks with googly eyes. And I will always think of, is it like Colin Farrell doing like Actors with Actors with like Jamie Lee Curtis, and him asking, but how'd they do it? And she's like, I think they just stuck some googly eyes on rocks. No, but how'd they do it? And I'm like, I agree, Colin. I get what you're saying.
How did they do the magic? How did they do the movie magic?
You know, how did they convince the studio to let them put that in their movie? Right. I think that's great. I was thinking more spectacle, so I went with that mirror edit from Contact, which is one of the greatest visual pieces of effects in cinema history. 100% like just the entire team firing on all cylinders. Thank you, Eric. That's the one.
Yeah.
God, like it's such a. It's like when Billy Eichner says "name a woman," and the people can't name a single woman, right? Like,
they're just overwhelmed.
Too big of a question.
We could literally just do an entire episode where it's us just listing like 100 God mode moments.
Exactly.
Like again, couple of Nolan ones off the top of the head. The sequence in Oppenheimer that is one meeting about 5 meetings, which is like the most insane briefing you could give like a director, editor, and writer, and it's just like, no, this is going to be the centerpiece of the movie. We're going to talk about people talking about a thing, talking about more stuff, and it's like just cutting between these 5 levels in a way where you are perfectly able to follow the plot across them. It is stunning. It is like virtuosity. In terms of like others, I mean, the atomic bomb sequence. I love that I'm just like Darren named scenes from Oppenheimer.
What was the under the bleachers sequence in Oppenheimer?
Yes, where the skin just
that's something that wonderful imagery, and then just wonderful like walking us through the paces of what Oppie is going through mentally. It's just absolutely beautiful filmmaking.
I follow a couple people on social media, or a couple accounts who just like post random movie clips, and over the weekend someone posted that clip from I think it's the match cut near the end of the intro of Last Crusade, which again,
with the hats.
Spielberg, where the guy Fedora, whatever the guy's name is like, you lost today, kid, but doesn't mean you have to like it. And then he puts the hat on him, and River Phoenix looks down a little bit, and when he looks up, it's Indy, on the train getting the shit beat out of him. What a moment. Steven Spielberg, I think he's going places.
Disclosure Day. I've got a good feeling about Disclosure Day. But like that's there are so you could almost like just name a director and like run through like what you think their God mode moment is.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Like the Scorsese is any one of the long takes, I guess.
Yeah.
Like that obviously like the Goodfellas into the Copacabana sequence is just
Or
one of
even
most
like the
incredible-
last shot of like the Irishman.
Killers of the Flower Moon.
Or
Yeah,
Killers of the Flower Moon.
yeah.
Either one of them.
Yeah.
Well,
I think he's going places as well. Scorsese,
To
I
me,
think he's going places.
The
He's
interesting
84 years young, yeah.
He's going to the bathroom a couple times during the night.
Nice.
Once he gets this Kool-Aid Man movie out, he's really going to get famous. But like to me, when it's like director God mode, because like my first thought goes to cinematography, and it's like no, that's not director. The coordination of cinematography and actors and script, and just like the person who is able to do everything and encapsulate that in one scene is when it gets real damn tricky for me.
You play the drums, I play the orchestra. To quote, like obviously Danny Boyle's God Mode movie, but yes.
Yeah.
The maniacal the crazy scream turned into laughter, turned back into a scream sequence in Evil Dead 2, in which it's just the house going mad and Bruce Campbell acting his ass off. Beautiful cinematography. And
Isn't there like a Spider-Man sequence where like it goes inside his eye and turns around? Like I think it's Spider-Man 2, but where like you see the city and you zoom up into Spider-Man's eye, and then it turns out that actually what you're seeing is the reflection. And it's just like obviously like the VFX artist did a wonderful part of that cinematography, but like it's Raimi who conceived of that as a shot that should exist. And it's
no, but we got to call the WGA because that was just contact. We did the contact shot again. We gotta arrest these monsters. Even Sam Raimi. No one is above the law. Not even Sam Raimi.
I am not a crank.
I am not. Man, also that scene in 28 years later where they're running across was it the causeway or whatever,
yes!
the bridge as the Alpha's running behind them at night as trying to get back to the village.
So good, yeah.
Or even like the boot sequences they're going across the first time, or like the climax.
What if we
of,
just do this?
The Bone Temple.
What if we just list things?
And we point and reference them as well. Like the climax of like Bone Temple, where like they do the Iron Maiden concert, is like stunning to me. Like, and again, that's a combination of like how it's shot, how it's scored, how it's performed. Everything has to be working perfectly. Oh, the Sinners sequence with Coogler is the obvious one that we've kind of been dancing around.
Oh fuck!
Oh yeah.
Oh god! Oh damn it!
One of the great things about getting a little bit older is everyone genetically starts enjoying just listing things.
Yes,
and, like riffing off it and getting more excited and listing more things. So if you don't understand what we're doing yet, just wait a little while. You'll get older, and then you're gonna love listing.
Sure.
This is our version of the Super Mario Galaxy movie. But sorry.
Real quick, again in Sinners, the entire rest of Sinners.
Yes,
the entire rest of the season is pretty good. Except for that one scene where they've clearly established the number of characters who are still alive inside, and the vampires come in, and there's like 3 red shirts who get killed. And you're like, who are these guys? You were not in any of the shots so far.
Now, hold on. I did keep that in mind last time I watched it. You can see them in the background. It's kind of fun to imagine what conversations they're having. But there are
want a
moments
completely
where, like,
separate movie from those guys.
Yeah.
Why didn't they ask us to eat the garlic? Do they just not think we're vampires?
Because like there's never a sense where like Annie or like any of the like a smoker stack call everybody together. Like, right, we're having a staff meeting for everybody. There have been some rumors going around about what's happening at the juke joint. We just want to set things clear.
Yeah.
So it's like those 3 guys in the background are like, can we leave? It's like, I don't know. It feels like it's kind of rude to leave now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the Irish guys seem pretty cool. Yeah.
I don't know. They're singing a nice song outside. They all seem to be having a good time.
Yeah.
It's going to be like that Community episode with Jack Black. Speaking of Jack Black, where they insert him and he's like, I've been in your class this whole time. And they insert him in all the scenes from like previous epissodes.
The X-Files did that as well. We need to call up the Beverly Hills Police Department and report
Oh,
them for
no. Dan Harmon's going to jail. Chris Carter's on the hotline. Who was it with? Who was it in the X-Files?
It's with Reggie. It's the Lost Art of Forehead Sweat, where they insert and it's like a really good fun sequence where like Darren Morgan uses it basically to shit all over his own work, which I always love as a writer, because he's like Darren Morgan is a writer who's like in every interview he's like, my work sucks. I hate my work so much. I don't know why Chris keeps hiring me and telling me to. And you're like, these are some of the best episodes of television that were ever produced. But like, there's the moment where like Reggie pulls the gun and shoots Darren Morgan several times in the head.
It's beautiful.
Darren, I feel like you should maybe talk some of this stuff out with people.
Excellent. Next super chat, waiting for Viva Pinata. Thank you so much for the dono. Expecting a good Mario game for its story is like expecting a good Sonic game for its gameplay. That's why Mario movies make money and why Sonic movies have a good score by critics. I mean, the Sonic movies have stories and themes and arcs.
The third one is like
not,
really
Mario is
good.
not incapable of having this. Mario can have this. Mario chooses not to have this.
Knuckles has a sequence where Knuckles learns to sit Shiva. Like, you know, I mean, Knuckles is like unexpectedly a good TV show. And like to the point about like Sonic games, and again, this is where I worry I'm showing my inexperience. I remember the Sonic games being great fun, the way that you play them and the way that like in 2-dimensional platforms, they were innovative to me for using like going like right to left as much as going left to right and having to think about video gameplay in that sense in a way that other platformers at the time didn't really. Like, am I in the loop?
It's a hotly debated topic on whether or not the Sonic games are good. I'm in the camp that they are not good. Just because you and this might just speak to my skill, but I think you just go too darn fast. And they don't
slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
And they don't give you like the real estate in front of Sonic to let you actually avoid obstacles. So it's more about like memorization and whatnot. But no, I think they're fine. But I think like the Sonic movies are a great example of like clearly movies that are made for kids that, you know, go for the dumb gags, but also have basic narrative elements that make them still good movies.
Yeah. And even like, I mean, it also helps they're really impressive movies. Like the Jim Carrey sequence in the third one, which is Jim Carrey acting opposite Jim Carrey. There's the joke that like, there's the joke that like Jim Carrey is like, Sonic 3 is the best script I've ever been handed. And you're like, oh, he's obviously making a joke, but you're like, no, he read that and it's like, you're asking me to act opposite the greatest actor of my generation. Me. I think this script has potential.
Right. But like they do the basics. They set up some sort of quest. They set up some sort of character deficiency. And by the end of it, they accomplish their quest by uprighting their character deficiency. That's all we're looking for here. It's so fucking easy.
You went your David Lynch a little bit.
All these kids are watching Super Mario Galaxy on their fucking iPhones.
I'll always remember the, I think I told this story before, but the PR team for Knuckles emailing me when I had not watched my Knuckles screeners telling me it's actually good is still one of my favorite moments as a film critic. It's like, no, really, you should watch it. It's good.
I like it when a PR person could be self-aware and be like, no. See, I know we're not going to bug you for most stuff, but like this thing is actually in your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And then waiting for Viva Pinata follows it up. Thank you so much. Super Mario Galaxy movie had Pikmin in it. That's already a minimum of a 6 out of 10. It did have Pikmin. I did like the Pikmin. I like those little guys.
It did have Pikmin. It referenced Mr. Game & Watch.
Yeah.
It
something that definitely children know.
But again, that's Smash Brothers is presumably what they're doing there, right? This is all like, obviously it's Mario stuff, but I did note that a lot of the characters it's referencing are Smash Brothers. Yeah, there's.
I mean, the thing is, at this point, everyone's a Smash Brother.
Yeah,
everyone's a Smash Brothers, but it was Mr. Game & Watch specifically doing a Smash Brothers move. Yes,
and the Illumination logo at the start is like the first one was Mario Kart, was them getting in the cart and driving backwards. This one is, and I actually, to be honest, I will say. The Illumination logo at the start of Super Mario Galaxy movie, maybe the best part of the movie, but the bit where they have the little minion who's doing the I'm like, bring that energy to the rest of the movie, please.
No, we're spent. we're spent. We'll see you guys in 85 minutes in the credits. D Cozy Poo, thank you so much with $2 donor. Rosalina's storybook from the game got done dirty. The thing about Mario Galaxy, Mario games don't have stories. The Mario Galaxy games are like very like heartbreaking and bittersweet, and like there is like an air of loneliness to them. And that's just something. Space is a lonely place.
Yeah.
And the movie never really delves into that loneliness, which your movie, you don't have to, but like kids get lonely too. You could have like had a moment of that, had a moment where if characters were able to shut the fuck up for a little bit, like look out into the deepest recesses of space and like realize how small we are compared to the vast, infinite everything that's out there.
Like,
no, but
kids...
Marty, they need to look out into the vast wilderness of space and see something they recognize flying towards them. That's your problem, Marty. Like, sorry, Jack.
Like, I was just gonna say, like, kids get lost and feel like they don't belong, which is something that like Princess Peach explicitly states she wants to like figure out. So we could spend the movie letting kids feel that and then seeing like appropriate ways that Peach gets over that. But instead she just figures it out right away and says, you know what? Fuck it. I guess I'm not alone. Bye. If you're alone, you're stupid.
But it's also like really like the sequences you see Rosalind like let Peach go. It isn't that like Peach slips from her grasp. It's that Rosalind like literally releases her hand, and it's like at no point is there any point where Peach has to process the idea that like not only was she like left behind, she was actively abandoned and like discarded. And obviously like you get along and it's explained why she had to do that, but at no point does the film in any way try to process what it means for a small child to remember that their loved one let them go.
This entire movie, I said a phrase out loud that I hadn't said in a long time, which is all sizzle, no steak.
You need to bring that back. I like that.
We're bringing that
I like
back.
All sizzle, no steak.
All sizzle, no steak. Yeah.
I was peeing the first time I saw it, and I don't remember it from the second, or maybe vice versa. The whatever
really relaxing
evil,
80-minute pee, like but
whatever. Listen, that second time, I'm like, what if I go pee a couple times? The flashback when it shows when Rosalina has to let go of Peach to save her, to send her through the pipe or whatever, wherever she goes. Whatever evil is encroaching on Rosalina, is that it? Do they explain what that is?
No.
Is that implied what that is? Like, no. I've played the games. I just don't know. Like,
it's quite
if
literally. It wasn't
Bowser, is it just evil?
Just a light. They don't show anything. We don't even see. We don't see a shadow. We don't see a shape.
I was hoping it'd be Danny DeVito's Wario. That could have saved everything. The big bad is Danny DeVito's Wario. Who would be Waluigi though?
Oh God, Glenn Howerton.
I was about to say, if we want to stick with Always Sunny, might as well. Yeah, we already have Luigi there. And while you're at it, just kick
Chris Pratt is being
out.
Replaced by like Rob Mack, is it?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Get Sweet D in there instead of Anya Taylor-Joy. I think we just made a different movie. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Thank you so much, Atul Ardono, contributing to the Vanilla Ice lawsuit defense fund.
Settled out of court. Settled out of court. And that is a headline that I quoted. So I am not liable for that. He is welcome to sue the American Songwriter, which published that headline. I just presented it.
I thought you were going to say he is welcome to sue Second Wind, but not me. Fuck. I thought we bonded over disliking this Mario movie.
I would like to distance myself from the video essay that I wrote, narrated, and edited.
You don't even have Jesse to be like, oh, he edited it. That was his fault. D. Koozie Poo, thank you so much on their $5 dono. The lack of drama is insane. The game had more drama. They just don't think kids can handle drama. They're mistaken.
They're mistaken.
Which is like kids love drama.
Of course, kids love
the drama.
That's it. I went to the Robert Pattinson movie, which is packed with kids, wall to wall kids.
Yeah, 25 minutes in, they're like, "Wait, fuck, you did what? What is this movie about?" God damn.
We will talk about American versus European reactions to that movie in a moment.
I was one of the few people in my theater laughing several points throughout that movie.
The entire Irish cinema was in stitches for
God. I saw it in the wrong country. Shouldn't have saw it in Madison. I should have saw it in Dublin. Joffrey of Monmouth, thank you so much. A $5 dono. Love seeing my boy Boldyard in Darren's video. I have many thoughts regarding postmodernism's role in modern nostalgia, but I will spare everyone the rant. At first, when you were saying my boy Boulderard, I thought that was a Mario character, and I was trying to think of who it was, and then he said it in Darren's video.
Jean Baudrillard, like everybody's favorite third-tier Mario character.
Like that could be the name of the frog. I don't know.
Louis Guzman is Baudrillard. But yeah,
Right.
no, like obviously, like I'm a huge nerd. I'm a big fan of 90s pop culture, and so much of like what I associate with 90s pop culture is like filtered through the lens of Baudrillard. Obviously, he's like a huge influence on stuff like The Matrix, but like his writing reflects everything from The Truman Show to Existence to The 13th Floor to like Total Recall. And I do think like this is one of the things where I read him when I was a teenager and angsty, oh man, I'm not smoking a cigarette because I'm not French, but I'm smoking a cigarette and wearing a beret, reading French philosophers. But I'm going, man, he's so profound, he's so deep. And it's like so weird because now I'm like, no, he was on the money. He was entirely on the money and like so far ahead of the curve in terms of where culture was going. Really, 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 yeah. Very fan, maybe a strong way to talk about my relationship to a French philosopher, but his writing is really influential on my view of modern pop culture.
Yeah. And I really like the frog, who's also Boulderard.
Totally right.
Waiting for Viva Pinata. Thank you so much. Back with another dono. About the Peach and Fox expectations for Darren. Sorry, but he's taken. He has a son with Crystal named Marcus in one of the endings of Star Fox Command. Counterpoint, Chris Pratt has a son with an actress that he divorced her. So
Okay, I was gonna say, like, Fox obviously has an open marriage, but you took it a completely different direction.
Listen, if an actor in their movie can leave their wife after having a kid, then certainly Fox McCloud. He's all over the skies.
Is
Crystal monogamy is going to keep that Fox down?
Who's Crystal?
It doesn't count if it's in a different galaxy.
Crystal's the love interest in Star Fox Adventures, in the character you wanted to pop up in the dinosaur scene.
Yeah,
was Crystal.
And to be clear, like, again, when I say that point, I understand that like two male leads fight for the attention of a female lead is the most cliche and rote story point that exists, and you absolutely do not need to do that. Mm-hmm. But you drawing my attention to a potential source of conflict and drama, then crumpling it up, throwing it away, and doing nothing, it's like real salt in the wound, insult to injury kind of stuff. It's like, we know what story is. We understand what dramatic tension is. You're just not getting any of it.
But and by the way, it would even work as a joke if they didn't already do it twice before with Yoshi. Like Luigi and Yoshi might have a little disagreement because Yoshi steals his motorcycle, but no, they're bros. And then the Toads are like, "Wait, Yoshi's here and everyone's best friends with him?" Yep, like not only are they like presenting you with potential drama and then taking it away as a joke, that is the third time in the movie they have done that. It's bullshit.
But also, like, you're casting Glenn Powell as Star Fox. Have Star Fox do literally anything.
Yes.
Literally anything. Like, he's one of the most charismatic actors working today. And he's like really sexy and really interesting and like really compelling. And you've got him in this movie. Have him do something beyond drop the characters off at the climax of the movie. Like, turn him into more than a space Uber, like do something with him.
Yeah, because at least Seth Rogen's Donkey Kong, like, played a major role in the second act of that movie and was in the final act of the movie and everything.
And had conflict with Mario, like literal physical conflict with Mario. Yes.
Yeah. Where was Donkey Kong in this movie?
I will say, again, this is another one of those small tiers up like things where I'm watching the movie. I'm like, we're not in Brooklyn. Fantastic. That's half a star more. We're not taking a weird trip to Donkey Kong Nostalgia Land. That's another half star. And it's like, as soon as we go to the spaceport and it's just Pikmin, Rob, Star Fox, I'm like, half a star off, half a star off, half a star off.
You lost all the goodwill, all the things you've refused to put in.
You're minus, you're 1/2 star lower now. I hope you're happy with yourself. I hope you're proud.
Japio, thank you so much for the $5 dono. I at least enjoyed it from an animated cinematography point. Nice imagery and action. Only 1/3 of what needs to be a good movie, but I had fun with that third. Yeah, for as much as we're dunking on it, it is you can see the money on the screen. Like, it's a well-animated movie. Yeah. It's not super stylish. No. Like, it doesn't color outside the lines a lot, literally or figuratively, but It is a very nice. It's the equivalent of like when you like what a AAA game looks like when you put it on your PS5 and you're like, look at all those colors and those graphics, and that might be ray tracing. I don't know what that means.
The way they
that
draw
might be ray
light,
tracing.
yeah. Look at the way that it draws light. Like
No,
the sequence of like Toad
great.
wandering, like carrying a little torch, wandering through the forest at night. I'm like, this could actually. It sounds so insulting and so patronizing. I'm like, this is almost a movie, but this is almost a movie.
Yeah,
This is like, you have.
Like they said, this is 1/3 of a movie. It looks amazing. It's too bad that they wasted it on this script.
Because like even like at the start when they go into the weird like dune object and they find Yoshi, there's lots of really cool stuff happening with light and shadow there, and it's like I'm not an animation guy. I don't know the particulars of CGI and animation, but it looks good, and it's clearly like a lot of attention has been paid, a lot of craft has gone into making this, and like there is a clear artistic direction here, which is like add a bit of shading and shadow to the bright colors from the first movie, which I think is really nice if you're making a movie about some sort of, I don't know, Super Mario Galaxy, if you will. But it's like, it's just nothing. It's like nothing. It's in service of nothing.
The amazing thing about it is how contrary to Nintendo this movie is. Like, within the video game realm, both Sony and Microsoft and many AAA game developers go for graphics over gameplay. They want their games to look the best. We'll worry about gameplay later. Whereas Nintendo has constantly put out underperforming hardware and games that look by modern day standards to be a couple generations behind. But we as gamers don't care because the gameplay is there. We want to interact with this. Yet in the movie sphere, they go the exact opposite. Like, it's going to look the absolute best. The quality of the movie?
It's also the opposite of how like Nintendo games tend to visually age very well. Because they tend to rely, instead of on technology, on art direction and style. Yeah. Whereas this movie seems like it is just, let's use all the cutting edge features we have in 2026 and put that in the movie, as opposed to a, like the Ninja Turtles movie from a few years ago, which is like very stylish and is like very, that I think that visually will age very well.
Yeah, the Spider-Verse movie is like,
exactly.
I did find that really interesting, is that like, American anime, and again, I'm not a huge animation guy. I'm not an expert in this. I'm just a guy who watches movies. But like American animation over the past, say, 7 years has like really been pushing towards like embracing sort of stylized and formalization, where like CGI used to be like, it used to just be the Cal Arts Pixar look. That was how you made a CGI movie. It didn't matter whether you were Pixar, whether you were Illumination, whether you were Sony. You were all aiming to get that Pixar-esque look, which is this kind of like lots of circles and round spheres and lots of smooth textures on them, because that's what CGI can render. And like the goal is always towards like pushing that into fidelity. So it's like, look at how good we can do hair, look at how well we can do water, but within that same model. And it does feel like since 2018, since like Spider-Verse is probably the big one, but like, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, you mentioned the Turtles movie, for example, but even stuff like the bad guys, guys, like that's the one where what if the big bad wolf was a good guy, and it's 2 movies, but even that is like stylistically experimental and ambitious, and like this just looks like a Pixar version of the games. And like there is the Fox sequence, to give credit where it's due, but the Fox sequence is just a bunch of exposition nonsense. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Everything's fine. No one's crying. Waiting for Viva
I'm
Pinata with three donos. I'm just going to read them back to back instead of spacing them out. Continuing off the Star Fox thing, but in another ending, Crystal dies, leaving Fox depressed. Him and Falco then join the G0 Grand Prix and become racers, not to be confused with F-Zero. Darren, don't get it confused with F-Zero. Jack, I see you're getting it confused with F-Zero. You gotta not. Then followed it up with, okay, the curiosity is killing me. What do you think of the non-live action Pokemon movies? Because I don't find these much different than the Mario movies outside of budget. And then followed it up with, Sony Pictures Entertainment's laying off hundreds of people. Even the non-gaming podcast can't escape unemployment.
And like, what's insane is that like Sony Animation did K-pop Demon Hunters, right? Which
this was just Sony Pictures. This wasn't Sony. This wasn't Sony just the animation division. No.
Oh, this is Sony.
Okay.
Yeah. I think they said they're laying off. Sony Pictures Entertainment is laying off a few hundred of 12,000 employees. Not that that's good. But this is also, we're going to see this
Spider-Man.
Yeah. We're also going to see this.
Of course, we're going to see it at Warner Brothers and Paramount.
Yeah, when Warner Brothers and Paramount, assuming that it actually goes through, it's going to.
But not even assuming it goes through, like we're still going to see the long tail of Paramount. Paramount is still going through. Like Paramount, I would argue, still has to have like the full head shave on it. You know?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a sad reality, and it's one of those things where, no matter what successes they come across, this is the new way of doing business, which is just like, hey, everybody, we had a great fiscal quarter. Profits are up. We're doing fantastic. Most of you will lose your job so that those of us at top can say that we've done even better this year, and then we're leaving. So bye.
Yeah. Taking our golden parachutes and going somewhere else. Sussy Guru with a €10 dono. Thank you so much. In my view, a good children's movie should be one where if you rewatch it as an adult, you find more things to appreciate about it, and not come to the realization that, oh wait, this was actually shit.
Yes.
Like the Ghibli movies, like Totoro. Like I have kind of friends who have children watching Totoro for the first time, and it's magical. It's absolutely magical. And then as an adult watching alongside them going, it is magical. I'm not like, I'm 20 years removed from this and I'm still moved by it. Yeah. There is something magical about being able to go back and watch a kid's movie and go, this is a much richer text than I understood it. And maybe I understood it emotionally. Maybe I connected to something in it. Because again, because I was like, the kids won't get the fact that mother's in hospital. That'll go over the head of the kids. I was like, no, the kids were really worried about mom. And it is incredible when that happens. Love that so much.
Like, not even that kind of prestige. We just after Project Hail Mary, me and the kids rewatched a movie that they watched ad nauseum younger, which is Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, which is, it's a screwball comedy, but there's drama and there's tension and there's character development. And there's so many jokes that are so great and continue to be great. It works as a kid's movie. It works as a movie for adults, and it works again and again on rewatch.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Thematically following up, Pure Pyro with the €2 dono asks, what are your thoughts on Gross Point Blank?
Which I loved as a 6-year-old.
Loved as a 6-year-old. One of my favorite kids' movies.
I have not seen that movie in years. I remember really liking it. I remember feeling like a very late 90s movie. Yes. I absolutely adore the recurring joke running through there with Dan Aykroyd wanting to found a hitman's union, which is just like it is, first of all, an insane joke. And second of all, an incredible use of Dan Aykroyd's very distinctive comedic energy, where you do buy the idea that Dan Aykroyd could be a very good hitman who also believes that hitmen should unionize because that's the only way forward for them as a profession. I remember liking the movie a lot. It's Minnie Driver, it's John Cusack, like on an incredible heater of a run in the 90s, obviously famously quite a difficult person to work with, as his late career maybe attests in terms of like how it went. But I think in the 90s, like with this and was it High Fidelity and stuff like that, again, a really, really, really compelling leading presence. Joan Cusack is also in there as his manager, if I remember correctly. She's very good in there.
Secretary manager. Alan Arkin as his therapist, I want to say.
Y'all are missing out the most important person. And I know we're the internet's #1 Piven pod. Piven's in the movie.
Hard Piven to pivot.
Let's do a hard Piven right now. Jack, top 10 Piven God mode moments. Go. The one where he says something homophobic is Ari. The one where he says something racist is Ari.
We're going to get to this
poster where he's holding that guy from Dunkirk on a puppet string.
We're going to get to this later, but listen, Piven was a pivotal part of my youth with PCU.
Okay.
One of the great college.
Is that the Piven cinematic universe?
That is an amazing boner comedy from yesteryears, starring a Jon Favreau that you would not recognize by today's standards.
I like that you almost put a little bit of French on his name. Jean Favreau.
Favreau. Yeah, he's good friends with Jean Bouillard.
John Reno, the star of The Professional.
No, but he's from Nevada, right? That's where John Reno is from.
It also has been a while since I've seen Grosse Pointe Blank. I remember it very, very fondly. I might be very biased because I believe one of the songs that plays during the credits is Blister in the Sun by Milwaukee's own Violent Femmes.
There you go.
And so I believe the only reason I watched it is because I heard that Violent Femmes did the soundtrack. And so, I
yeah, that is one of those, like, that was like a seminal watch this in high school movie for me.
Yeah.
Middle school, high school, whenever it came out. And I probably watched it like 5 times and I have not seen it in 20 years.
So Jack, what you're saying is that was a big driver of interest in the movie for you. Not a mini driver,
a mini one.
Yeah.
Listen, we do a monthly movie watch along here on Second Wind for our Phoenix tier patrons. It's not my pick this month, but when it is, maybe we'll do Grosse Pointe Blank.
Listen, I would not be upset if all of a sudden the opening credits rolled and it was that. I say it about any Piven movie, though. We just love Piven here.
That is not true.
It's like, all the
world's
classics.
number one Piven pod. And you dance. Thank you so much for the £5 dono. Bringing the positivity. We're between our annual rewatches: GoldenEye, Spy Wednesday, and the OG Wicker Man on May Day. Do you have any of them? What is Spy Wednesday? Is that a holiday?
No idea.
Spy Wednesday is.
Wednesday, April 1st. Holy Wednesday is also known as Spy Wednesday. Good Wednesday. You can't call every day good. If every day is a good day, you can't be. I guess that's why you call it Spy Wednesday.
Yeah, but they wanted to introduce some variety. I mean,
exactly.
I
like that.
2 days. It's 2 days. Like, it's like the Good Saturday. It's like Easter Saturday and Easter Sunday. I think you're allowed a second good.
Sure.
Well, Good Wednesday and Good Friday. What's wrong with Thursday?
Well, Thursday's holy, isn't it?
You could be good and holy.
It's
good
holy,
at the Church
a
of
different
America.
holiday.
It's good.
It's a holy sandwich. We got a holy sandwich with 2 goods as bread.
Yeah.
That just made me think I was Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Holy bartender. I get it. Or no, that might be Dogma. What a film. Zero Piven. Do you have any do you have any annual rewatch traditions that are geared towards specific parts of the year? Like, obviously I have a bunch of Halloween or horror and Christmas movies.
Sure.
I'm trying to think. I rewatch Over the Garden Wall right before Halloween, more as like an autumn thing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of ones outside of those two.
I mean, besides Groundhog Day. On Groundhog Day.
Do you watch Groundhog Day on Groundhog Day?
I do watch Groundhog Day on Groundhog Day.
Oh, that's a fun one. Yeah. You watch Valentine's Day on Valentine's Day and New Year's Eve on New Year's Eve?
No, neither of those.
But they're all equally as good as Groundhog Day, to be clear. Yeah.
What's the best time of year to watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy? Every single fucking day.
Well, Christmas generally is the one. Like, local cinema in Ireland up until Warner's got a bit tighter with the licensing of it, used to do like the expanded Lord of the Rings marathons in whatever the weekend was between Christmas and New Year, which was great. Yes. So it was like every cinephile in Dublin who had enough time with their family was like, I'm gonna go to the cinema and spend like 12 hours watching 3 movies. Like, famously, when you watch like Return of the King, pizzas would arrive into the cinema ordered, because the cinema was like a very cool cinema, and also it was around Christmas time, and everybody there was kind of in on it a bit. But yeah, so that's what I think of when I think of Lord of the Rings, is the get away from your family for 12 hours and lock yourself in a cinema and order pizza around midnight on Sunday.
They were released in November, December, right?
Yeah,
like in theaters,
by that corridor.
Originally, yeah.
Along with the Harry Potter movies, the first couple of Harry Potter movies.
Most of them, I think they might have got wonked off a little bit. Ooh, can't say that. They might have got wonked off a little bit at a certain point.
No,
it's a normal term people use, Jack.
They kind of moved into summer as they became kind of more adult, quote unquote.
Sure,
they became kind of more traditional blockbusters, I think.
Yeah,
but yeah.
The whole time I was thinking, what if we extended these into 7 seasons of a TV series that took 14 years to film?
Yeah.
And we're going to be able to figure that out now. Let's go over, we'll save the rest of the super chats for after. Let's go over the stuff we've been watching that isn't Mario. I know we have a lot of overlap in a bunch of these. So, Jack, let's start with you. What have you been watching?
Sure. Some simple ones, which is I have been keeping up on Daredevil Born Again. And Darren, I know you've gotten to see all the episodes of Born Again season 2 and have given us kind of a polite but steady yawn, and I'm very much agreeing with that so far. It is just, it's amazing how they make it less interesting per episode.
Yeah, that's not an unfair read of the situation, to be fair. Wait until we get to the finale. We'll have big thoughts about the finale.
Yeah, so like it's just as someone who has watched almost all of Marvel television, it is pretty down there.
This is the one that breaks you. I love that. This is the one.
It doesn't break me, but the problem is it was good. There was a time in which Daredevil was really good and interesting and poking at the edges of what we thought was allowed, and now it is somehow like it is more restrained than it has any right to be, and it is very boring.
I mean, this is the thing where it's like on paper it should be like the most compelling Marvel show, in that it is very obviously like a show about a New York businessman with ties to the criminal underworld who has somehow been elected to high public office and has turned a private militia into his own personal army using the like law enforcement as a cover. And what does it mean to live in a city where that is happening, a state where that is happening, a country where that is happening, and where every attempt to fight that has like just led to failure and disappointment and there's no way out. And you're like, this should be the most compelling piece of Marvel television ever produced. And it's like, instead it's like, what if we just like sit in a room and talk about how great like it was back on Netflix? It's like,
right. What if we had all of this quite literal daily hot button topics to delve into and process and tell you how we feel about it, and you know, help you process your own emotions for this incredible thing that's happening both in the real world and in our show. But instead, Charlie Cox is going to take his shirt off for a little bit.
I mean, I'm not opposed. He can take his shirt off and talk about that stuff at the same time. I can walk and chew gum, Jack. I'm going to be honest.
Also, Jack, that's offensive. He's blind. He doesn't know if he had like an undershirt on or something. Maybe he wasn't aware.
He can feel.
I don't know if he's sense blind, about to say it.
But I was also like, just because it was a blind spot for me, I'm about midway through. Oh no, that was not a pun. I swear. But Ironheart. I'm watching. Ironheart just because I had heard kind of some middling things, and I'm really not liking Daredevil. So it's like I'm watching Ironheart, and you know what? It's good compared to Daredevil. It's a little slow. It's a little weak, but it's saying something. It's doing something.
The thing about Ironheart, which is stunning, is like the first half is like so slow, molasses slow. And then like the second half kicks in. And to your point, you're like, oh, this has things to say. And this has like interesting characters. And like, there's, again, to your point about like the nostalgia stuff of it, like there's an entire tract in the first 3 episodes about how Jeff Bridges isn't coming back for a cameo in a Marvel product anytime soon, so I guess this bag of ash will have to be our cameo, right? And I'm like, no need for that. We did not need to have the cameo from Jeff Bridges, who's not appearing in this show. But I like, have you finished it? Have you finished Ironheart?
I'm episode 4, so I only have 2 episodes left. But yes, we're dealing with loss. We're dealing with your place in the world. We're dealing with deals with the devil. It's great.
Yes, like, and again, this is the thing where this is produced by Coogler. Obviously, like he's not writing, he's not directing, but he's producing it, and it's really interesting. It's like a weird counterpoint to Sinners, like the yin to Sinners yang. No, but like Sinners is about this idea of being like I say as a white man on a podcast, but like being a black creative and being a black artist and like having to create as a black person in like, you know, a capitalist economy that is largely driven by like white people who own capital and control wealth and control opportunity through that, and the deals with the devil that you have to make in order to advance, and like whether or not you're willing to make those deals. And like Ironheart is not about that, if that makes sense. Where like a large part of what the show is about is the idea of like Riri trying to create something, but having to like latch herself onto the MCU in order to get to make the art that she wants to make. Like she doesn't know Tony Stark. She has no real association with Tony Stark, but using his name allows her to get her foot in the door and to get in real terms her TV show here, but allows her to invent the stuff she wants to invent. Like it's very good. And like the ending of it in particular is very much in conversation with Sinners. Like I think it is very slow. I think you could tighten it.
Yes.
It is the classic, this like meeting could have been an email. This 6-episode premium TV show could have been a good 2-hour movie. But like I think I was quite pleasantly surprised by where that show got to by the end of it. It just took forever to get there.
Well, and you know, comparing that to Born Again season 1, it's flying by.
Yeah. But yeah, they didn't reshoot the entire TV show, presumably because nobody could tap Ryan Coogler on the shoulder and say, "Sorry, Ryan." It's that joke from Austin Powers where he's like shagadelic. But that said, I do have some notes. And Steven Spielberg says, my friend here disagrees.
Something I want, if we want to pivot to like stuff that I will now proselytize for, I will evangelize or whatever. Something I will talk about fondly for a long time is I watched Pizza Movie.
Pizza film.
A pizza movie with the other McElhenney.
Marty, Pizza Film is the European version. It's much more art house.
That's one of the stages of the trip as you go into the pizza movie becomes a pizza film.
Pizza Movie, a Hulu exclusive movie created by a slew of internet content creators, both Britt and Nick, and produced also by the American High team, which are like I have seen occasionally like in my YouTube Shorts feed, but apparently are prolific enough to help produce a Hulu movie. Phenomenal capital C comedy, old school. We got a high premise. We have a series of
very high premise.
A series of individual gags that all have wonderful setups, punchlines, great set pieces, wonderful villains, and still like that old school capital C comedy where the characters go through some sort of arc.
Yes. Yes, they have a journey, a literal and a character journey as well, which I quite like. It is a geographical moving through space in order to get, as the title implies, pizza. But it's also like the characters grow and develop as they do. And it's like, this is a disposable stoner comedy, but it is still able to hit the basic beats of a functioning, engaging narrative.
Yeah. Well, I hate to bring this back to Mario Galaxy, but even a movie where the literal plot is I need to eat a piece of pizza so that my high doesn't go bad has more
so
character
development. In the ass with a chainsaw. I think just to be clear,
by my greatest nightmare.
By my greatest nightmare. But like that has a significantly more satisfying narrative than the Super Mario Galaxy movie.
Yeah, I thought I went in knowing nothing about this movie other than a few people recommended it to me, and I thought it was a delight. Like it's in and out of your life in 90 minutes. I thought the lead Gaten Matarazzo, the kid from Stranger Things, I think he's delightful in the movie. Like I think it's just a genuinely fun. It like takes a one crazy night stoner comedy, but adds like an adventure arc to it.
Yeah.
And it's like a predefined adventure arc to where you're excited for where it goes next because you kind of know the steps of the adventure.
Yes.
And I think there's a ton of really funny visual gags I wouldn't want to give away, but like there's it goes places where I'm like, they're not going to go here, are they? And then it goes there. I'm like, oh, this is great. Yeah. It reminded me a little bit of like Naked Gun last year to where it feels like it was firing off ideas from the hip. And all of them don't land, but enough of them do to where I thoroughly enjoyed myself.
It's a little like Naked Gun meets Everything Everywhere all at once. And it kind of like it's a thing where if you have Disney Plus or Hulu, you already bought it, so you might as well watch it. And it's an original comedy.
I mean, this is the thing, and I'm sure we're going to talk about Mike and Nick and Alice in a moment. But watching Pizza Movie and Mike and Nick and Alice is that like those movies would have played like gangbusters in a theater, where it's like they are. I think those movies are streaming movies, and that they are very obviously streaming movies, not in the way that, like, obviously Matt Damon and Ben Affleck talk about streaming movies having to reiterate the plot over and over, but you can tell that those movies are quite limited in terms of budget. They're very like tightly confined in the number of locations they use. Their cast is relatively small, and they have to make like really pragmatic decisions about how they allocate budget. And I think they do all of those things very well. I think like both Pizza Movie and Mike and Nick and Alice deserve like credit for the production and like the logistical management of making a movie like that. I'm sure that they cost far less than even I think that they do, given what they look like on screen. But part of me is also like, I would have killed to see either or both of those movies in a crowded cinema, where I was sitting there on the couch, I was chuckling, I was smiling. I kind of would have loved to have had the experience of being at the Naked Gun last year, where I'm in a room full of people and the laughter is kind of swelling, and there's the as Marty said, the are they going there? They're going there, which is a good energy between yourself and a movie, but I find is like an incredible energy when you're in a room full of people where different people in the crowd have different expectations of how far they're going to go before they pull back. And you can just feel the energy kind of Mexican wave through the crowd. I really like both of these movies, and I do regret that, like, I will never see them with a crowd of people, which is a real shame.
I think that's fair. My one big note from Pizza Movie was I felt like this was a movie that knew it was going to be a streaming movie with ads, and so was paced almost like a made-for-TV movie, where you could tell that, we are going to have a commercial break here, so we need to wrap everything up right before we get there. And then we come back after the commercial break.
It has a 5-act structure as opposed to a 3-act structure is the most obvious indication of that. Yeah. It is very clearly designed to be chopped up. Yeah.
And by the way,
like a pizza.
I like that. Like a pizza. I like that. I like that they knew the medium that this was going towards, and so they could cater the movie towards that. So I agree with you. I'm a theater head. I want to see, especially comedies, in theaters. But I like that they knew the kind of product they were making and were able to tailor it to that.
My big tangential complaint, and this is just a complaint across the UI and UX of every single streaming service. This movie was nowhere on my front page of Hulu. Even though I've watched several things like it, and I watched new movies shortly after they released. I had to slowly type in using my TV remote. P didn't show up. I didn't show up. Z didn't show up. The second Z, it didn't show up as one of like the 10 things on the sidebar. I had to type the full word pizza and then a space. And then finally the third thing was like, oh, you wanted this new pizza movie that's out? I'm like, yes, I wanted the new pizza movie that's out.
This brand new pizza movie that's new to our platform and theoretically gives us a ton of value, starring someone who just got done with an amazing run of another streaming series.
Yeah.
It reminds me of was looking for Hedda, which was like obviously the Tessa Thompson Nia DaCosta movie that went to Amazon Prime, and it's similar sort of thing where it's HEDD.
There's no way this is one of the 10 most popular movies with these letters at the start.
No, but like the thing is, like the recommendation I get is like Ultimate Fighting Championship. But like the words HED do not appear in any part of that.
It's a bunch of dudes punching each other in the head.
In the head. And my favorite thing is like I get to HED and I get like the World Ultimate Fighting Championship. It's the one result it serves me. I type the second D and it goes no results found.
Yep.
And then I type A, and it's like, "Oh, you wanted Hedda. Why didn't you just say you wanted Hedda?"
That was dumb of you to not say that from the first place. Incredibly stupid.
But go watch it. That is a movie I can very wholeheartedly recommend. So yeah.
Pizza Movie. What else?
Do you guys want to start talking about Mike and Nick and Alex? Because I genuinely very much hated that movie a lot. Because that movie made me feel bad.
Oh wow, you really didn't like it. This was your Mario Galaxy movie.
Wow, Jack went to the Mario Galaxy movie to feel better afterwards. Yeah.
I'll be honest. Yes, I felt worse. I felt more like watching Mike and Nick and Alice than I did watching the Super Mario Galaxy movie.
Damn, the Vince Vaughn slander. We had two Vince Vaughns, and you're slandering both of them. This is the new. This feels very much. I think Jack, you might have even said this. This feels like the post Tarantino wave of BC crime movies, stuff like Suicide Kings and I mean, honestly, maybe even a little bit Gross Point Blank, but written and directed by
Yeah.
Ben David Grabinski, who wrote on the Scott Pilgrim animated series a few years back, which I really enjoyed.
Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. Yeah.
Yeah. And this kind of starts as like a obster crime caper movie, but throws a sci-fi twist into the mix in terms of the fact that there are two Vince Vaughns, so a little bit of time travel is involved. Also, I just realized this has both Sonic and Sonic's friend in the movie. I don't know what James Marsden's name in those movies are, but I just realized that right now looking at the cast. Before we get to why Jack hated it, Darren, what did you think of it?
I like that. Take the floor, Darren. Like Jack's gonna show up with a chainsaw in a moment. No, I was really charmed by this. It reminded me a lot of, you mentioned the idea of it being the post Tarantino crime movie, and it definitely is that. But it reminded me a lot more of what we're seeing happen with like streaming slasher movies, where the idea is you take a genre piece and you layer another genre on top of it, particularly often science fiction. So like Vaughn has done Freaky, which is a slasher movie meets like Freakier Friday or whatever, be Death Day and stuff like that, where yes, the time travel gimmick is a nice little hook on top of it. I just found this really charming. I thought like the three leads were quite charming and charismatic. I like the basic premise of it being very contained. The idea of it being a single night involving these characters. To Jack's point, the fact that it does feel like it's aware that it's a streaming movie, and so only has like 4 primary locations in it, but uses those, to my mind, uses them very well and very efficiently. And the fact that like it is, I found it quite funny. I say as the non-comedian on the podcast, I found it quite amusing. It gave me a slight tickle every now and then.
That French guy again. What did he have to say about the movie?
Yeah, Jean Brouillard. That's what it was. Très funny. It's the one text. We're in the WhatsApp group together. He's sharing me his movie opinions here and there. Nice. But I found it very funny, and I also, like, to be honest, found myself quite charmed by the idea of like using the genre of crime movie and using the genre of time travel movie to explore this idea of kind of guilt, this idea of like a personal arc, and the idea of like feeling guilty about a thing that you've done, and using, again, time travel, which is a common thing, to imagine going back and trying to fix it. I did find that stuff like strangely affecting for what is a very broad action comedy. And I'm going to be honest, I also really enjoyed the action at the climax. I thought the action climax was surprisingly satisfying. Oh, Jack is like, Jack looks like he threw up in his mouth.
Jack looked so disgusted, I thought his camera froze.
I did a little bit. I'm so sorry.
Sorry. No, not at all.
No, it's like, it's okay for people to, just
we all
feel
disagree
differently about a movie. Yeah.
No, I'm done. Jack.
Oh, okay. Oh, no. Oh, you're done. No, that...
I'll tell you when you're fucking done.
That was like, to me, I made a very snarky post about the movie, about how, like, after things like Clerks and Reservoir Dogs and, like creators like John Woo and Jackie Chan came out, there were a slew of imitators who were like hitting the same notes, but with none of the vision and with none of the gusto. And then in movies that wouldn't necessarily have characters making broad pop culture statements, you would have characters have an extended
the Gilmore Girls for
extended sequence talking about their favorite Gilmore Girl boyfriends, grown ass adults in the middle of murdering people, talking about their favorite Gilmore boyfriends, Gilmore Girls boyfriends, and it, to where it just didn't make sense. Like, it does not fit within the world that you have established. And then we get a couple action sequences that are not shot great. And obviously we have budgetary constraints. This is a direct to Hulu movie. Obviously we have budgetary constraints, but they just weren't exciting or interesting or no, I just disagree. I really thought the action sequences were lame and the pop culture references were forced. And I like James Marsden and Vince Vaughn. And I also like Ben Schwartz, though, like, his character, I'm going to assume
on set for about 2 days. We're gathering.
Cash a quick paycheck between Sonic VO sessions.
might have been
like to
also
get to
might
that
have been
streaming thing.
like
There's also like 2 other actors who are clearly on set for less than a day making this movie. Yes,
but I'm assuming his character was also a late addition to the script, where maybe they had the premise and realized they needed to maybe beef up some of the comedy a little bit. So like, let's hire a comedian, give him a day on set and a few lines to riff on. No, I found it genuinely unpleasant to watch.
What about when Dolph Lundgren showed up? Were you excited when Dolph Lundgren showed up?
I was not.
He was He-Man.
you were all in on you were all in on like Stephen Root, and then when they pulled that rug out from under, you're like, never again.
By the
Never
way,
gonna trust this movie
I
again.
truly was all in there for Stephen. Stephen Root shows up as a hitman, and then I won't spoil it, but like a rug gets pulled, and Stephen Root leaves the movie, and I said, "Shit, I love Stephen Root."
I mean, that was like an hour. I think there wasn't that much movie left after that, was
That's
there?
the root of your problem, with the movie there. Yeah.
But also it's a movie. Like, I have Disney Plus. I could watch it for free. It only cost me a couple hours. But
I think it's 90 minutes. Like, but Jack's like, no,
He
I
had to pause it every once in a while to just take
Yeah.
deep breaths and be like, I'm really not enjoying this.
After Stephen Root leaves the movie, he's just like pause and just paces for 10 minutes angrily.
You need to add another 15 to 20 minutes of deep sighs. Absolutely.
Your kids are there like, Dad, why are you sighing? Why are you making so much noise? Just stop watching the movie if you don't like it.
I can't stop watching the movie.
All right. I was honestly quite surprised at how charmed I was by it. Where you mentioned the Gilmore Girls bit, right? And obviously, like that's you mentioned a post Tarantino-esque thing, but I liked the framing device of the Gilmore Girls thing, which is like, you mentioned you liked the show, so I watched the entire show so that we would have something to talk about. And I'm like, as an audience member, I'm like, okay, I understand pragmatically that is a nice way into the bit of having a conversation about the Gilmore Girls, but also as a character beat, I thought that was a nice little detail to throw in there. The idea of like explaining why he likes it's not that he's sensitive, or it's not like the subversion of the tough guy thing. It's like, no, I'm actually trying to explain that this relationship between these characters means something, and that they are trying, and then using the Gilmore Girls again with Vince Vaughn explaining that he has also watched it in order to share that point of communion with those other 2 characters, where like that for me gets it a little buy-in on you mentioned the Tarantino-esque riff, where it's like, sure, there is the incongruity of these 3 people talking about the Gilmore Girls, but in terms of like what it communicates about the relationship between the 3 of them, I will accept that you didn't, but I found that actually like really sweet. I found that really charming.
And there is a magic to it. I think there's a magic, and there is this, and it's something I don't necessarily even blame the filmmakers for, because I do think the way there is a magic in which that kind of dialogue is written. And it's that kind of dialogue that comes from someone who is very passionate about something, whether it be Tarantino's and Steve Buscemi's like tip rant in Reservoir Dogs, or like the how a Star Wars universe would work in Clerks. I think that comes from a writer who has a hyperfixation on those things, and this is personal preference. This is 100% personal preference. I did not believe that the writer of that gave 2 shits about Gilmore Girls.
The writer of this movie, you don't think?
That's what I think. Yeah.
David Galinsky somewhere is just catching.
I thought you were going to say the characters, which is that's totally fine. Like, I don't think that scene could have manifested.
Marston.
Like, I think you need to be a sicko on the thing to really write that line. So I would imagine Ben David, besides having 2 first names smashed together as one name, I bet he's a good big Gilmore boy. Also, you know who one of the Gilmore Girls' boyfriends were? Chris Pratt.
Sean Connery. Okay.
No, and to me that felt like, let's pull a pop culture thing out of a hat. Gilmore Girls. Okay, let's do some Gilmore Girls research. I'll look up a Wikipedia and write some dialogue on it. Let's go. So
but they even had a goof about not. They even had the goof about, I didn't watch that Netflix reboot.
Yeah. But even like they have like they have the layers of fandom where it's like, no, that character just looks like a good boyfriend, but if you really think about it, he's not. And I'm like, that to me suggests a level of intimacy and familiarity with not only the work but the fandom as well. And sure, I'm willing to put my hands up and say I'm not a Gilmore guy. Like Ben David may have like pulled the rug out from under me. None of those may not even be characters in the show. But I found the level. Like, this is the thing where it's the level of attention to detail in that conversation I found really charming, where, like, it's one thing to do the Tarantino thing of the classic, like a virgin. And it's like having the conversation about like where everybody in the world has heard, particularly in the 90s when the monoculture exists, everybody has heard like a virgin, and you're familiar with it. Even if you've never listened to the lyrics, you know the chorus of it. And so then Steve Buscemi gives a monologue about it that lasts 2 minutes. You're like, yeah, makes sense. I can track that. I quite like the absurdity of this movie going like so deep on Gilmore Girls like lore that even if I were casually familiar with Gilmore Girls, that this movie would still feel like it was getting deeper into it than it really needed to. Where, like, it is admittedly like it's that thing where mileage may vary, but it's the fact that it commits so hard that it goes through the bit of the making the joke continuing to the point where it almost ceases to be funny, and then pressing through that to some other third level where it is actually funny again. And I admit that that's an inherently subjective thing, and that like I don't know whether it just failed to launch for you or whether it got stuck in phase 2, but for me it did manage to get to phase 3.
What point of the rocket journey did the toilet break?
Yeah.
I don't know why I was so vigorous in defending it, because I thought the movie was just fine. I was somewhere right in between you two. Definitely wasn't charmed by it, but I liked it more than Mario, which at this point isn't saying a lot. That is Mike and Nick and Alice, and all the Nicks are ampersands, and God help you if you need to search for it on Hulu with a TV remote. Cool logo with the gun as the Al and Alice that becomes the eyes and Nick and Mike.
But again, very Tarantino 90s movie, and again, I will say there may be a little bit of bias of me showing that, where like I am like young enough that, or old enough, I guess now, I am old enough that I was the right age to think that Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead was actually a good movie for several years. Like, so this may have just hit that sweet spot for me nostalgically.
Fair. Fair.
Whoa, my God, Eric, you're adding more Nicks.
Whoa.
Well, I mean, they do leave it open. There could be a sequel.
Yeah.
I don't think enough.
I don't imagine there'll be a sequel.
No.
And by the way, something I do want to add, like, even though I did not like the movie, the thing I came out of my 2 Hulu movie watches, Mike and Nick and Alice, and Pizza Movie, was, wait, is Hulu the place to go to watch original movies?
Yeah, weird, right?
Well, to give credit where it's due, like 20th Century Pictures have always been like quite good at that. Where like I believe they are a Nick and Mike and Nick and Alice, like, is the 20th Century. I don't think they're a Pizza Movie guy, but they did Rosalind, they did Prey, they did No One Will Save You. And like, I would argue that like of the streaming service movies, there are not a lot of them. But the reason that there's not a lot of them is because when they appear, they tend to be quite good. Like, it's not like Netflix where there's just like a pump that like Ted Sarandos just works and out comes a Ben Affleck and Matt Damon movie. It does feel a little bit like the Hulu movies when they arrive are a bit more kind of bespoke, where it's like, it's a Caitlin Dever movie and we can only make one of those a year because like we haven't cloned Caitlin Dever yet, and she's doing 4 Netflix miniseries as well. Like, I do think that like Hulu is quietly a good place for kind of those movies. So yeah, Rosalind I would recommend if you haven't seen it, and No One Will Save You, which is the silent alien movie.
The largely silent alien movie.
The preview that I got, the recommendation I got after watching both movies was the Jake Johnson Everyone Wants to Kill Him movie. Do we know what this one is?
It's called Everyone Wants to Kill?
Jake Johnson. Like, this is the thing where Hulu is so bad. The algorithm is so bad that it like you could reach into that and just pull it out. I was watching, was it Home Alone? I watched the Home Alone franchise for the other podcast that I do. And it was incredible because I watched them all on Disney Plus. You watch Home Alone, the algorithm recommends Home Alone 2.
Yeah.
You watch Home Alone 2, the algorithm recommends Home Alone. You break through and you watch Home Alone 3, and the algorithm recommends Home Alone 4. You finish Home Alone 4, having watched Home Alone 1, 2, and 3, the algorithm recommends Home Alone. It's kind of an incredible just to figure out like what the math is behind the process of it.
And if you watch 5 Home Alone movies, it's like a self-help hotline.
That's a little
if you are feeling lonely, you need to call this number.
Reach out to a friend. Yeah.
Real quick, the other podcast that Darren does is called The 250. It's a wonderful movie podcast in which you roughly watch the top and bottom 250 of IMDb.
Very
and discuss them. Very. The Jake Johnson movie is called Self-Reliance. Came out a couple years ago. Have we not heard of this? It looks great.
A time machine? Or is making a time machine?
No, it's he gets like Andy Samberg plays himself and asks down on his luck whoever Jake Johnson is playing to be part of a reality TV show in which people try to kill him, but they can only kill him if he's alone. So he tries to surround himself with people to make $1 million, and it looked really fun. I didn't get around to watching it, but it looked great.
I've never even heard of
Eric
this.
has started the timer.
Came out in 2023. Yeah, never even heard of this.
And the trailer again made it look like, oh my god, this is an original movie. It looks like a fun action, maybe horror-ish movie. Hulu's apparently the place to go to watch these things.
And written, directed, produced, and starring Jake Johnson, the Hideo Kojima of our generation.
Wow, there you go.
Listen, I just finished a rewatch of New Girl, and let me tell you, Jake Johnson, delightful. That whole cast is delightful.
Boyfriends, right? He's the best of the
He's great. He's a good Spider-Man too.
He's a good Spider-Man.
Oh, he is actually. He's a very good Spider-Man.
Yeah. Shout out to Jake Johnson.
Peter B. Parker.
Peter B. Parker.
Maybe tangential friend of the show, friend of the pod, Jake Johnson. Yeah,
friend of a friend of the show.
After I finish rewatching 150 episodes of a sitcom, it feels like they're friends. We might as well be friends with old Schmidt and old Winston. Those are other characters on New Girl.
And we were critiquing Mike and Nick and Alice.
Listen, if there's two things I love doing, it's naming movie scenes that were cool and naming first names of sitcom characters that I now consider to be my friends.
My good personal friends.
CC and Jess. Jack, anything else?
I swear I won't spend too much time on this, but out of a whim, I also rewatched My Cousin Vinny. And you know,
incredible movie.
That's a good movie.
Picture.
That's a good movie.
Incredible movie.
I haven't seen that in a long time either.
Watching it in high definition, the one thing that really strikes me is I don't know if it was the wig Joe Pesci was wearing or if he had just gotten work done, but his eyes are being pulled back something fierce. It's actually, once you notice that both of his eyes are being pulled back, it becomes rather distracting.
Can I make the case that did you watch this before or after Mike and Nick and Alice? Because it does feel like reverse handicapping to be, let me watch the rare Oscar-winning comedy from the early 90s. Now, let's go to Hulu and see what's on the plate.
I did watch it after Mike and Nick.
Okay,
and Nick
all right. My Cousin Vinny is like just a masterpiece of comedy.
Wonderful movie. Absolutely wonderful movie.
And Tomei's Oscar incredibly deserved. Like that is one of the things that really bugged me. Remember for years there was it Jack Palance read the wrong name or whatever was the really kind of cynical attempts to undermine her Oscar. She's incredible in that movie, and if you're going to win an Oscar for a comedy, you're going to win supporting.
Who was the front who was the front runner for that category that people think that was kind of screwed out of an award? Do you remember?
I do not. I'm actually going to the fact that
I'm going to do a little Googling. A little Google.
Listen,
time.
she's great in the movie. Oscar worthy, I don't know. Like, but she is wonderful and delightful in just about anything, and especially in that movie. It is like, I know it's different time. It's different time. Like it is like a not necessarily a well written character, but she plays it very well.
No.
So she competed against Judy Davis in Husbands and Wives, Joan Plowright in Enchanted April, Vanessa Redgrave in Howard's End, and Miranda Richardson in Damage.
Vanessa Redgrave they wanted to win.
Must have been Redgrave, right? Redgrave seems like the favorite there. Who knows though? It's all because you kind of assume it's like Glenn Close. She mugged, like, then Close had the four other slots, and like Marissa Tomei mugged her and took the Oscar.
Yeah, right.
That's the way that people talk about her winning.
Howard's End and Terms of Endearment are two movies that I remember walking into my living room as my parents were watching on VHS, watching them for like 30 seconds and being so bored that I walked out, and I've never gone back to watch them. And I'm like, I'm an adult now. I'm not a child. Like, I could probably go back and I might enjoy these movies, but yeah.
The problem is that like so many of those, it's like Remains the Day. It's like if you see Remains of the Day, that's the only Anthony Hopkins Tony 90s performance that you really need. Everything else is just variations on that. I do love Shadowlands. He's great in Shadowlands.
Yeah. Hell yeah. That was it, Jack?
That was it. That's all I watched. No other things.
Lovely. I watched two things. I know one of them Darren watched, so I'll go. The thing, I don't know if Darren's watched yet. Have you watched any of this new season of Paradise?
I have not. My father has and is very on board with it.
Let me tell you, if you thought the first season got weird, I don't give a shit what's going on in this show anymore. It is nuts.
Do they, at the end of the season premiere, drop Another Day in Paradise by Phil Collins, which is the name of the show?
They have several needle drops this season. And I'm like, you're not going to do this while this is happening, are you? And they did. They did. They are unafraid of using the weirdest cover song needle drops whenever they want. This season, it is interesting because the first 3 episodes completely follow different characters. The first episode introduces a new character played by Shailene Woodley. Is that her name?
Okay.
Mary
Jane, right?
Almost Mary Jane, right? I think she filmed scenes as Mary Jane in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Yeah. Sonic's dad is also in this one too, Eric. So this is a big day for James Marsden, aka Sonic's dad. But yeah, the first episode follows her. Second episode, we get caught up with Xavier, played by Sterling K. Brown. And the third episode shows us what's going on back in the bunker. It is insane, having recently, watched The Last of Us Part 2 or Last of Us Season 2 and Fallout Season 2, how all of this post-apocalyptic shit is just blurring together for me. All the bunker stuff reminds me now of the bunker stuff in Fallout. All of every time I see Shailene Woodley and Sterling K. Brown on horses through an apocalyptic wasteland, I'm like, this is just The Last of Us. This shot is just The Last of Us. That is just The Last of Us that is currently there.
It is almost as if there's something permeating the culture. Like
it's
a general sense.
It's almost like half the world is extremely worried about what's going to happen at 8 p.m. tonight.
As if like the leader of the free world had like used some sort of platform to send out a message saying civilization is going to end tonight. Like he's promoting Sweeps Week on reality TV. Yeah. I don't know what it could be.
True nightmare. But
great television.
Yeah, great television. There you go. But yeah, Paradise. It's bad for you. It's high calorie, low vitamin and mineral junk food.
It's bad for you.
It's bad for you. But I like it. It's junk food. Like, this is my junk food. I don't watch reality shows. Like, this is my junk food TV, and I love it.
Yeah, no, this is in the same vein of like Doc Odyssey. Like this is This Is Us guy, Dan Fogelman, isn't it as well? Like it's kind of like, and it feels like him feeding his id. Where like This Is Us is kind of like a soap opera, but it has like a vaguely prestige-y sheen. And this, as I remember from the first season, it's just like it's all in there, baby. It's all.
It's
no
also
shame.
Without spoiling anything, because the twists are genuinely insane. It's almost like someone was like, do you think you could speed run Lost in 8 episodes? And he's like, yeah, I think I could. And it feels like this season is speed running Lost. And I'm like, all right, I'm kind of here for this. I can get behind this. So
my dad is very fond of it.
I feel like dads would fucking love this show, Jack.
No, it is very dad coded.
It's extremely dad coded.
He's on a horse, right? He's like, he's a Secret Service agent protecting the president. You're like, yeah. He also rides a horse through an apocalyptic wasteland. It's like, yeah. It's like, okay.
Spoilers, the president's dead. He doesn't need to protect the president. You don't got to protect them. They're not alive anymore. Yeah, extremely dumb. Great show. Season 2 has wrapped up on Hulu, and I believe season 3 is in production. And I think they said they only want it to be 3 or 4 seasons, which could make more short shows that have endings.
And I'm sure the ending will be perfectly rational. And
People
safe.
will be very normal about how it ends. And then the last thing I watched, which I'll just throw it over to you, Darren, to kick off, was the drama, the new movie starring Robert Pattinson and Zendaya. Darren,
Yes.
what did you think of the drama?
I really like the drama. It is an interesting addition to what I believe on the podcast The Town, producer Craig called it the fucked up rom-com genre. I would maybe lean more towards like the revisionist rom-com. Thinking of movies like Materialist is the big one from last year. It's movies that are like marketed and sold as very traditional romantic comedies, where like the premise in the trailer is look at these people who are really hot and they're like together and they're gonna have a romance and things are gonna go wrong and askew. There's gonna be misunderstandings and shenanigans. But then when you actually watch the movie, they frequently take very dark turns while remaining like deeply comedic. And I think like one of the interesting things about the drama is I would recommend, first of all, this is probably it needs a spoiler warning. I'm going to try and avoid talking about the movie in any real depth because you absolutely, if you're at all interested in the movie, should see it blind with no expectations and having no idea what it is about. Very, very, very loosely, it is the story of Charlie and Emma, who are played by Robert Pattinson and Zendaya, who are getting married at the end of the week. And over dinner, they are like at a wine tasting preparation for the wedding. They and their maid of honor and their best man, get into a conversation about the worst thing that each of them have ever done. And Emma reveals something from her own history, which is shocking to Charlie and kind of causes Charlie to question how much he knows her, how much he understands her, and like what it is to be in love with somebody and to know the worst thing that they have ever done. And it is really interesting because some of the reactions from the States and from America have been like, this is not a rom-com at all. This is a really gritty drama and character study. This is a very probing study of contemporary American society, and it's biting, and it's not at all what audiences are expecting. I went to a packed Dublin city centre cinema last night to see this movie with a bunch of young people, and we were just laughing consistently throughout. I found it to be like a deeply hilarious romantic comedy, incredibly black, incredibly dark in terms of its tone. It's from the director of Dream Scenario, which listeners may remember as the movie starring Nicolas Cage as a college professor who ends up in the dreams of every human being on Earth. And that kind of gives you a sense of where the director's interests lie. I would argue, like Materialist, this is a very post-internet movie about relationships. It is a movie that is post-social media. It is not literally about social media, but throughout the movie there's constant references and allusions to the idea of social media. There's, Charlie, when he talks about his meet cute with Emma, he talks about being worried that she was filming him to put him online, for example. He literally at one point produces a book called Brain Rot at various points. And there is this question of like what it is to date another person at a point where almost everything is online and everything is known. And that kind of classic romantic idea of if I'm in love with somebody, what I want is for that person to see me in my entirety, including the worst thing that I have done, to accept me and to acknowledge me and to be able to forgive me. And also just as somebody who's loving somebody, you want to be able to see the other person in their entirety, to know them fully and completely. And what that means in this modern day and age where everything that a person has done is available and documented online and presented and like will be stored forever. And I think like the drama is really interestingly kind of engaged with this idea of kind of post-online culture where the awful thing that Zendaya, talks about is tied to online culture. One of the big flashback sequences has a joke about like QuickTime updating and a blue screen of death involving Windows. She talks about like getting into particular subcultures using like online stuff. And I do think that like it is a movie that to an older cinephile who grew up on the rom-coms of the 90s, movies like, say, Pretty Woman, for example, movies like Runaway Bride or whatever, movies like When Harry Met Sally, etc., Sleepless in Seattle, this is a very acerbic, very cynical, somewhat bitter twist on that premise. But it does feel to me as an observer kind of like what happened to the Western in the 1960s, where you are taking the bare bones of the structure of a classic romantic comedy, and this is a classic romantic comedy. There's a wedding happening in 7 days. All the character archetypes are familiar. Alana Haim is doing the quirky best friend in a rom-com, but like the worst, most nightmarish, most post-millennial version of that trope, which is just incredible to watch. But it is playing with those expectations in ways that are like interrogating them, deconstructing them, and slightly cynical about them. And I do honestly think that, like, we have talked for years now about the state of the romantic comedy in pop culture, about how we don't make enough of these, how studios aren't producing them, how, like, with the exception of, say, Crazy Rich Asians was a big hit in 2018. Anyone But You was a big hit a couple of years ago. But generally speaking, the romantic comedy has gone the way of the Western in the 1960s, where if it exists in its traditional form, it exists on streaming. Movies like Set It Up, for example, movies like that one with Ali Wong and Keanu Reeves, which is very good. But like, it's a niche nostalgic object, much like the Western was in the 60s. We don't make these anymore. And there are reasons why we don't make these, which we don't need to go into. But it does feel like the fact that studios like the big studios like Warner Brothers, like Sony, whatever, aren't making these rom-coms anymore has opened up the space for studios like A24 to go, actually, what does the romantic comedy look like in 2026 when we give it to a young director or a new director with a fresh point of view and ask them to make a movie that doesn't just reiterate the tropes and formulas of the rom-com as it has existed since the 1930s, but reflects the anxieties of the modern world, like, to a culture that has grown up in like post-recession dating, post-social media dating, Me Too feminism, the backlash to Me Too feminism, online commentary, cringe culture. What does a rom-com look like when you add all of those realities of modern dating on top of the classic formula? And I really do. I really love the drama, because the drama felt to me, in the style of something like Materialist, just like what if we took the structures and rhythms of a rom-com and just stretched it a little farther than it usually goes and pushed it a little more towards like modern sensibilities? I had a really, really, really good time with it. It is a movie that is pushing buttons. It is provocative. I understand why American critics and perhaps even American audiences are more sensitive about this movie and what it is doing. I'm talking around a lot of stuff here, but like, I understand why American audiences and critics are like, we don't know how to touch this. This is kind of radioactive, and why this is a movie from a European filmmaker that European audiences are like, it's actually really bleakly, blackly, darkly, toxically funny.
At a certain point, all you could do is look at America and laugh, because like like everything that's happened over the past 30 years in this country. I mean, you could the past 250 years, but especially the past 30 years have like, if you aren't gonna laugh at it, you were just gonna crumble under the weight of it.
But I mean, it is very telling that like one of the central characters, Charlie, played by Pattinson. Pattinson can play an American. Pattinson can do an American accent. Charlie is very pointedly a British character, so the movie can make a point about the inherent absurdity of the situation in which he finds himself. And it is pushing, and I don't blame people for wanting to back away from it and finding it uncomfortable. But I did find it like provocative with purpose, if that makes sense. If that's
Yeah, sort of.
What about yourself, Marty? Like, as an American, because I'm very conscious about like the European being like, let me tell you about America. But Marty, what about your reaction?
No. I felt largely the same. My theater did not laugh whatsoever, except for me several points. But it is
even during the photographer, like the photographer sequence had the audience like eating out of the palm of its hand.
Man, I just felt like when again, a hard movie to talk about, when the reveal happens. It felt like the oxygen was taken out of the room, and people were afraid of doing anything with the movie after that. Even though I was like, knowing what this movie was, hearing some interviews about it, knowing who the director was, I was like, this is clearly a very bleak, dark comedy looking at a very real thing across America. I know this is probably an annoying conversation that we're just
for people who have not seen it, we're talking about things
dancing around. But I do think the movie
Jack
is more
at the end of this say what he thinks the thing is. By the way, like that, we should like put a spoiler warning when we're finished and have Jack see if you can figure out.
Without us reacting, we're just going to move on to the next thing after this. Jack, what do you think is the thing that Zendaya says that completely skewers the movie for the next.
What I'm assuming, again, and I have not seen the movie. I know I've seen the trailer for it, which is we know that she admits something, and that causes all of her friends to go.
Even there's a record scratch.
Yeah.
Hey.
And then the camera pushes in on her face and goes, bet you're wondering how I found myself in this situation.
And I have an educated guess, and I don't know if you can tell me if I'm right.
We won't. We're just going to move on to the next thing.
We won't.
We'll tell you off stream if you're right.
My educated guess is that she online bullied someone to do a school shooting or something of the like. She was part of a 4chan message board, and she bullied a classmate, and that classmate ended up doing a school shooting.
Her thing is that she lied about the spell that made her forget who Spider-Man was, and she just didn't want to date him anymore. And she's like, you know what, fuck it didn't work on me, but I honestly, I just don't want to date this guy anymore. And he seems unstable if I break up with him because he shoots guns.
So anyway, that's my theory based on what you have talked about.
Context clues.
Yeah. So you'll have to tell me off stream because you can't. We won't spoil it.
At a certain point, we've gone too long without spoiling it to spoiling it. It would be rude if we spoiled it.
It would be rude now at this point. Yeah. Reveal that she tells him that he can't be in Dune. That was the thing. She told Robert Pattinson he couldn't be in Dune.
But he can be in Dune. I saw the trailer. Anyone could be in Dune.
What you doing this Christmas, eh?
Yeah. Darren, what else? What else have you been watching? Anything?
Just in terms of new releases, just to mention it, James McAvoy's California Schemin', which I really enjoyed, which is the story. It's based on a true story of two Scottish lads who are trying to break into hip hop at the at the start of the 2000s, and they want to be accepted by a British label, and they can't be accepted by a British label because they have heavy Scottish accents. And there is this prejudice in Britain against Scottish people because of the accent, because it makes them hard to understand. So what they come up with is the clever plan of pretending to be a pair of American expats who are just touring through the UK and then manage to score a bunch of auditions with British record labels headed by English people who hate the Scottish and look down their noses at the Scottish, but are so desperate for the approval of the Americans that they uncritically and unquestionably accept these two strange American rappers who have shown up at their doorstep and decide to turn them into overnight global sensations. Where the plan is to use that as a platform to expose the kind of classism and kind of racism within the British music industry. It is a really interesting movie. I liked it a lot. I found it really fascinating and kind of really well constructed. Eric, by the way, that is entirely those are the right shots of the movie. It's very well made. It's McAvoy's first film as a director, which is really impressive. And it is what I really liked about it is that it has a whole bunch of ideas that we are so used to the formula of the modern music biopic and the rhythms of the modern music biopic and how these movies are supposed to go and the structure that they're supposed to follow, right? And to Jack's point, a lot of that is just basic character arc stuff, right? So you have to have some variation of it. And what I really found myself charmed by in California Scheming is the fact that it does all that. It has everything that you expect the movie to have. It hits all the beats. I've told you what the premise of the movie is, and you can probably map most of the actual plot of the movie in terms of what happens over the course of the narrative. One of the characters decides that he quite likes playing an American and so refuses to pull the reveal. The other character has all sorts of interpersonal conflicts and, national psychosis and all the stuff that is very what you would expect a movie like this to kind of do. But at the same time, what I really admire about it is McAvoy always pushes the movie just a little bit further than he needs to with that basic template. So you have this paradox of these two Scots people who believe that they're being oppressed in the British media scene, pretending to be a bunch of white Americans stealing black music, and like what that means in terms of like appropriation and national identity. You have like at the end, instead of like the movie being this kind of triumphant celebration of these two schemers who pulled a quick one over those stuffy old Brits, the movie like instead pauses and goes, actually, if you think about what they did, it was really messed up and caused a lot of damage to a lot of people who did not deserve to be caught in the crossfire. But I found it really charming. It is not like groundbreaking. It's not amazing. It's not revelatory. You're not going to come out of the movie thinking that everything you know about the world is wrong, but it is well made. It is fun. It has a perspective and a point of view, and you can really feel that McAvoy is genuinely interested in the story, because McAvoy is a Scottish actor, and McAvoy has talked quite frequently about like his challenges as a Scottish actor trying to support the Scottish film industry, trying to do work in Scotland with Scottish directors, with Scottish money, with Scottish stories, and how hard it is to sell those stories to England. So this is something that is very close to his heart. I found it like really charming. I found it like really well made. I thought the story was engaging. The performances are good. And like, yeah, I had a good time with it. So just to shout that out, I don't know when it is releasing in America. It is probably going to go straight to Hulu or something like that. But if you see it, California Scheming, well worth seeking out. And I guess I watched the first 2 episodes of that Darth Maul animated show, and I did not care for it. That's my review of that one. I did not care for it.
Does he not have the 2-sided lightsaber anymore?
He does, but he doesn't use it all. You know what I liked about Darth Maul?
What's that?
It's all those scenes where he would like put his arms behind his back like he's Peter Cushing and just talk for like 3 straight minutes about his evil plans and how much he's got like a hit list of people he wants to avenge himself on, and how difficult the logistics of running a large crime organization are. That is what I have always loved about Darth Maul, and I'm really glad that there's an entire 10-episode animated series that can really wallow in that side of the character. I do feel like it's maybe a bit shallow for me to be like, you know what's cool about Darth Maul? It's that he's mostly silent, he has a 2-sided lightsaber, and he looks like Satan. And he has really cool fight choreography. Yeah. Those are the things that I like about him. I don't need him to be a criminal mastermind who soliloquies about the revenge that he's going to take. And again, it's that fan brain thing of like Dave Filoni, all respect to Dave Filoni, being like, Darth Maul only has like 2 lines of dialogue in The Phantom Menace. One of those lines is, soon we will make ourselves known to the Jedi. Soon we will have revenge. Therefore, me, Dave Filoni, whose job it is to map the Star Wars universe, have nestled in on the key to Darth Maul as a character. He's the character who has revenge. That's his whole shtick. It's a solid 33% of his dialogue. He's always talking about our revenge, that Darth Maul guy. So that is what his character is. And I'm like, no. His character is he looks really cool, has a 2-sided lightsaber and has horns on his head. You don't need like a complex internal
They're Boba Fetting him is the problem. They're Boba Fetting him. Yeah. You don't need to. Boba Fett was cool when he was just Boba Fett.
Yeah. His character is over. His character, he looked really cool.
Chopped in half.
He fought really well, and then he died.
Is it like again George Lucas talking to Empire magazine, where and people mock George Lucas, and like entirely fair. George Lucas is a very mockable person, but like he has his finger on the pulse with certain things where he's like, you know, I knew that he was too cool, and I knew that like fans would just, they'd want more of him, and they'd want to bring him back. So I thought to myself, he's going to die at the end of Phantom Menace, but they'll find a way to bring him back. We need to like really kill him. We need to like chop him in half. So there's no way that fans will be able to bring him back. Like, I do love that, like, even back in 1999, George Lucas was like, no, enough sugar for you. You got the taste. And it's like, I broke the toy and I threw it in the hole. No more Maul. No more.
And then they Sid from Toy Story'd him and put on some robot legs.
And then gave him a little cameo at the end of the Solo movie. So,
which everybody saw and everybody remembers.
Listen, Alden Ehrenreich getting his flowers in Ironheart. I'll tell you what.
That's right.
Not Oppenheimer, Ironheart. To be
not
clear.
Oppenheimer. No. We're talking about the only one that matters. We did bring up both movies today. Sure. I'm gonna watch this one because I watch all the Star Wars shit. My big thing against it is called Star Wars : Maul - Shadow Lord. You're not allowed 2 different pieces of punctuation in your title.
Mission
you can choose
Impossible
one.
Ghost Protocol, Mission Impossible Rogue Nation.
I don't like. They're bad. You can't have multiple.
Chainsaw Man, the movie Reza arc, which does like
don't get me started on this anime bullshit. Let me.
Okay.
I love anime. Don't get me started on their titles. You don't gotta have a whole sentence as a title unless you're talking about the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. Unless you're making a movie about that, you don't need
like
all those
that.
words.
A lot of it, like
what about other punctuation?
Bands?
Could it be like Star Wars Maul, comma Shadow Lord? Sorry, Jack.
Oh, I was just gonna say there was a bunch of emo bands in the mid-aughts that like all of their song titles were like this.
Like Taking Back
like
Sunday and Fall Out Boy and Panic at the Disco. Yeah.
Where, like Trinity is my only girlfriend until she broke my heart. And that's why I write this song to you, Ashley. It's like that was the name of their second single.
Flying's the most fun a girl can have without taking off her clothes, but it's better if you do. Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
You know how you get away with it? Mike and Nick and Alice, 3 pieces of punctuation, but they're all the same. As long as it's all the same, baby. You're golden. You could throw
I was not expecting Marty's hot take on Mike and Nick and Alice to be like the ampersand is where it's at. Like that's the best part of the movie.
See this
punctuation, right?
I have an ampersand tattoo. I don't know. Oh no, it's low. Yeah, whatever. That's why I love the movie so much, and I was so offended when I took it as an offense to my tattoo.
I've known you for many years now. I did not know
showing up?
You had an ampersand tattoo.
I usually roll my sleeves up to just below it.
Yeah.
As a little secret. That's my the drama. When they got to me in the drama, I was like, I got a tattoo in my 20s.
Marty, it's that's not as good as our story. Not the coolest thing you've ever done.
I was getting ready to tell that story, and then Zendaya told her story, and I was like, whoop, all right, not going to tell my story anymore.
Back down the sleeve goes.
Perfect. I want to go over these last couple super chats before we head down the old dusty trail, because we do. It has been confirmed. There is a real stream in 30 minutes. A real stream. It's live. It's there. It got turned from private to public. So
holy moly, it's happening.
It's happening, folks. Waiting for Viva Pinata.
Or Nick just really wants us off the channel.
Honestly, one or the other. Honestly, that's a 50-50 decision. Waiting for Viva Pinata too. Wait. Who was second win group that said I made it? I didn't. Oh no, okay, that's Nick. I get confused because sometimes that's Eric. I thought Eric flipped the switch, and I was like, Eric, you can't flip the switch. You can't put your finger on the. I can't even talk about the big button anymore. It's not fun. God damn it! Waving for Viva Pinata. Thank you so much for the dono. At least the quality of
why that is. That's what's Zendaya. That's Zendaya's big secret. I invented the big button.
The button from the movie The Button, starring James Marsden. Well, I pushed it. I pushed the button. I pushed it a bunch.
I was like, I get $50,000 each time, right?
Yeah. He's like, yeah, no, you get infinite money. We just haven't brought it here yet. Stop hitting the button. I saw by the way, I saw Donnie Darko having a big 25th anniversary celebration in Mexico this week. Robert, what's his name? Robert Kelly? No, that's not his name.
Yeah,
Roger Kelly.
I think it's Robert Kelly.
Richard E. Kelly.
Richard Kelly. That's who it is. It's Richard
Kelly. Shout to Donnie Darko. Wait for
and the button and the can version of Southland Tales.
That's all. I think that's all of them, actually. I think we named the 3 movies he's made in 25 years. Give him money to make something else. What are we doing? He made Donnie Darko. He should be able to get a movie funded once a decade.
I am astounded that Sony, when they couldn't get Ari Aster to do Morbius, didn't hit the Richard Kelly button in desperation.
Yeah. Fuck it. We're gonna see what happens here. Okay, super chats. We're going through them. Waiting for Viv Pinata. Thank you so much. At least the quality of kids movies in the U.S. beats Argentinian kids movies any day. I will bring 2 examples: Metegol from 2013 and Noah's Ark from 2007. But we had a guy that tried to be our own Walt Disney, Manuel Garcia Ferrer.
Oh, all right.
I like Argentinian Walt Disney. His politics probably aren't as problematic as
I feel like we shouldn't throw a statement out there not knowing his politics. I know that Walt Disney's politics were pretty bad, but it's that's the kind of thing where it's and just so we're clear, there's a section called controversies on his Wikipedia page.
You can go there, do your own research. That's not on us. I like that every country has their own weird little animated movies. That's fun.
Yeah.
John Ryer, thank you so much for the $10 dono. But is Super Mario Galaxy movie better than the live action Mario Brothers movie? I genuinely like that movie. I think it is a strange pop culture phenomenon that will never happen again. But I think it is a fascinating time capsule into the minds of a couple truly insane people.
Yeah.
Is it the Anchor Blu-ray edition that comes with like 3 books, including 2? Yeah, Kettle of the Jack's like, yeah, it's on the shelf behind me right here.
It is. It's 100% on my shelf. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, a great collection. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
But the thing about that movie is that like, I feel nostalgic towards it for the fact that like it is a more interesting movie. It may not be better. Who's to say if it's better or worse? I think it is probably on average about the same. But I think that it is more interesting. I think it is like it is doing things that it has an interest in doing and using the franchise to do that and using the property to do it. And it's like the model of like production that gets you that is also the model of production that gets you something like Paul W.S. Anderson's Mortal Kombat, for example, which is like, I think the best version of like the Super Mario Brothers movie that exists. It's like where it's very faithful to the game, but it's very weird. And it's very particularly the vision of that one director. Patrick Willems did a really good video on this where he was talking about like adaptation and how Hollywood has gotten like so incredibly fixated on like, not even textual fidelity, but like aesthetic fidelity to the source material, which has just like ruined and made it impossible for something like that to exist. And so it becomes scarce, and I have a fondness for it. I find myself drawn to it nostalgically. I will say that fondness is tempered by the fact that I have never felt the urge to rewatch it. Like,
we watched it on a movie night. I think maybe back at the Escapists.
We might have watched it on a movie night. I have rewatched it several times. I own that Blu-ray with all the different copies, amazing behind-the-scenes features, talking about how when they wrote and started filming the movie, no one had played the game and no one knew that it was a game played by children.
Wasn't that the Bob Hoskins like story where like Bob Hoskins is asked by an interviewer, "Did you play the game?" It's like, "There's a game,"
and all of a sudden, one guy on the crew started playing the game, and it's like, "Oh, this is really fun. Maybe I'll do some more research." Wait, kids play this?
Yeah,
guys. Because the movie was pitched as a rated R. Oh my God, I'm going to forget the name of the Harrison Ford movie where he's fighting. Blade Runner. It was pitched as a Blade Runner-esque post-apocalyptic movie. In any case, if we are talking purely narratively, that is a movie with clearly defined characters, with clearly defined goals that have things that get in their way, but eventually they achieve their goals. And Super Mario Galaxy does not have those things.
And I worry I sound like an old man shaking my fist at the sky, but the production design is incredible on it as well.
Absolutely.
And it's like physical sets and its use of space. Like even the egg thing, even the toad egg thing, which does not in any way resemble like anything from the video game, just looks cool in a way that doesn't happen anymore. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So no. So yeah. No. So yeah, no.
So conclusion, yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
Nick Knoll with a pair of $5 donos. Thank you so much. Going back to our frustrations with searching for movies on the streaming services. Regarding bad search results for titles, a SoundX function for databases will search strings by phonetic similarity. It's common/useful for UIs where misspellings might be common. It's bad design, but understandable. Yeah,
that's very useful. That may explain again that like UFC fighting thing I got with head.
Sure. Yeah. It doesn't explain why by the end of the word pizza you're not giving me your new movie that starts with the word pizza. Like, right. Like at a certain point you got to just do a little bit better. But yeah.
No, if you really want it, you'd be searching for a movie. You'd just be typing the word movie.
Oh, you want the pizza movie, right? You can't be talking about any other movie.
It's that old Apple software thing where they want to try to make the user experience as easy as possible, and so they remove a lot of the work. But in removing a lot of the work, you sometimes make things more difficult to get to where you actually want to go. Ugh.
There you go. Yeah. Sussy Guru with a €10 dono. Thank you so much. Since there was still so much time left for Star Trek talk, Mike and Rich recently did a Voyager Season 1 rewatch, and Mike loved almost all of it. Best part was Rich issuing a public apology to Janeway. And then I'm just going to go straight to the next one, and that is Fill My Ass Up. Thank you so much for gifting out a membership. And that's it. That's the end of the show. There's no time for Star Trek. There's no time for Star Trek.
There is actually literally no time for Star Trek. The next podcast is happening in 23 minutes.
There's no time for Star Trek. There's just no time.
That, by the way, is like how you end a teaser on Star Trek: The Next Generation. Is Marty comes out of a turbo lift just shouting, "There's no time! There's no time!"
There's got to be more time. There's no time.
Yeah. That's a real season 7 of The Next Generation premise right there.
I don't even understand that reference. I'm assuming that's the best one.
Yeah, clearly. That's the one where they had all fresh ideas all the time. And like cast members, family members weren't just wandering out of the woodwork every week because we were running so low on ideas. And Beverly wasn't fucking a candle. And Barkley wasn't turning into a spider. That was,
Beverly fucked a candle. I can't believe it.
We talked about this several times.
Marty, she didn't fuck a candle. She fucked a ghost that came out of a candle.
See, this is how you get me on board for Star Trek talk.
Owned by her grandmother as well.
Why does Star Trek not lead with this?
Right.
On planet Scotland. But to the point about like the first season of Voyager, I find it really interesting because that is a troubled season of the show, but it is like trying to do new things, and it is kind of, you can feel it like experimenting with stuff. Like that is the point where Pillar is, sorry, I'm not even
gonna he doesn't get 2 minutes. He gets 20 seconds, and then we go to the outros. You get 20 seconds.
Okay, fine. I got nothing to say about Voyager.
No, you got 20 seconds. You're wasting your 20 seconds.
Okay, just
if you bring up the candle ghost, you could go longer.
Okay. I can't even remember what I was gonna say now because all I'm thinking about is the fucking candle fucking.
Same.
Darren, the ghost fucking. She fucked the ghost, not the candle.
That's right. The wax would go anyway.
From both ends.
There, by the way, Marty, if you want to wonder what fucking a ghost looks like on Star Trek: The Next Generation, there it is.
Doesn't look nearly as good as Dan Aykroyd in Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Well, I mean, King Ghosts don't do that, Marty. King Ghosts don't do that.
That's true.
DJ Khaled of like Space Scotland. But the point I was going to make is that Voyager. Like the thing about Voyager is it has interesting ideas to start with. It's this idea of like a ship that's isolated or whatever, but it very quickly becomes the Next Generation. The first season is interesting because you can see the tension of that happening in real time, where like I think Pillar ends up leaving like halfway through the season, and so the show kind of becomes much more Next Generation-esque under Taylor, and then he comes back in season 2 and there's this tug of war. Best season of Voyager is 4. That's my hot take. 4th season of Voyager is the best season of Voyager.
There you go.
And there we go. A solid 32 seconds to spare.
I won't even add anything to it.
No, go ahead. You got 26 seconds, Jack.
Yeah, you have his. I didn't like the fact that there were 2 countdown clocks and they weren't synced up with how they were going down. So like the first one would tick down and then the second one would tick down and then the first one. So Eric, next time fix that.
Yeah, Eric clearly doesn't do enough on the show. Who certainly doesn't do arguably more than the 3 of us combined.
We got 5 whole minutes to wrap this up. This is gonna be easy. I'm gonna light a cigarette. John Brooks with a 10-pound dono. Thank you so much. If you're on a countdown and you're still rambling, you might be tarnished.
And speaking of, as a reminder, next week, Tuesday, Jenna and I will not be continuing our co-op Elden Ring stream. Marty and I
forgot that was happening. Now I feel bad.
Well, it's all right. We'll just pick it up, and when we pick it up next, Marty and I will be doing.
Fall off a horse, Marty. What do you do?
You just get back on the horse.
The thing is,
Marty.
I don't know how to get on the horse in the first place. I don't have a fear of falling off the horse. It's that I get close to it and it gets scared and it runs away. I don't know what to do.
So next week, at this time, or at noon Central, next week, Tuesday, Marty and I are doing our Second Wind's first ever live stream competition. Marty and I are going to do a Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild lockout bingo extra long stream. We don't know if it's going to work. It's going to be crazy. So that's going to be
theoretically,
given
Tuesday. It's lockout bingo. Can't you like force a stalemate by doing every square on the board?
Then it's whoever gets the most pieces. Yeah.
I like that you've thought about this.
And we've chosen early game things. And so, like for example, defeating one of the beasts won't be a thing. These will all be relatively early game things, and so we are thinking 3 to 4 hours we'll be able to bingo.
It'd be funny if we got in there and
smash cut to 8 hours.
I was gonna say smash cut to 20 minutes go by, we're done, and we're like, what do we stretch our time? Do you think Darren's around? Can we call him to talk about Star Trek?
Right.
7 days in hell where it's like the tennis match that just won't end.
Yeah, tune into that next week. Anything else, Jack, on your plate? Folks should know about?
Thursday, I'm continuing my poke all the mans streams. Dark Souls 2 poking men with me and Jess. We are so close to our games showcase that is coming up in a couple weeks. Close also to the start of Adventures Nigh Season 5. Editing, animating. We have episodes done and in the can, and we are just waiting to release them. It's very, very exciting.
Yeah.
And also planning our next story arc, which we'll get onto later. So yeah, all that fun stuff.
And we'll have news on exactly when Adventures Nigh will be releasing shortly. And yeah, if you have questions about the showcase, ask them to Nick when he's streaming in 15 minutes.
We had a little bit of a demo before we started this, which was kind of incredible. Jack kind of walked us through some of them.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But like really like properly cool. I
previewed for Darren and Marty how I want the new story arc to look within Foundry VTT, and you all didn't get to see it.
People love that, right? People love when you point out that they don't get to partake in something, right?
The important thing is we're working on the next story arc right now, which is something that we're very
which means someday you'll be able to see it. So there you go.
It looked it really did look great.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Darren, what do you have going on? Obviously, your excellent episode of The Backdrop went up this morning on a little bit on Sora's AI closure and the Harry Potter series and why those are linked in more ways than you would think.
Yes, a little bit of a rambling stream of consciousness and depression / despair from me there. That was very much a piece that kind of arose from it being the week that Sora closed and the week that the Harry Potter trailer premiered, and a bunch of thoughts that were running through my head related to generative AI and the discussion that we kind of had a little bit and kind of broached around earlier when we talked about Mario of the like, what does AI art look like and why do we keep comparing media to artificial generative intelligence kind of stuff? And so I kind of tied all those ideas together into an essay, and Nick was like, we should maybe do a video on that. I will say I'm very proud of it. I think it turned out very, very well. I think it's a good, coherent article. I will say, editing a video essay on generative AI didn't leave me feeling in the happiest place, because I didn't really leave me feeling particularly like that was not a world that I was happy to immerse my head in for the 2 or 3 days that I was kind of piecing this together and slicing this together. I think it's a fun video. People seem to like it. It makes an argument that is something I've been trying to articulate for a while, trying to find a way to put into words. It was nice to get it put down. It was nice to get it put out. But I will say that, yeah, it is a subject that is very much a bummer to like have to construct criticism around, because it means having to engage with that, and delving into that is a lot less fun than talking about sex ghosts on Planet Scotland, unfortunately.
Now I feel bad that I took away your Star Trek time. I didn't realize you were like bummed out after that video. I would have given you the Star Trek time. I don't care. No, it don't bother me at all.
I'm not Nick. I don't really care. But no, I think it turned out rather well. So you can check that out. That dropped today. And obviously columns. So over the last weekend, I did a column talking about like Darth Maul and talking about like my issues with the Darth Maul Shadow Lord show. Talked a little bit about my issues with like the Super Mario Galaxy movie and the question of like who that is actually for. This coming weekend, I'll probably write a little bit about the drama. The Boys is coming back. I haven't seen that yet. They've been keeping that under lock and key because of the final season. So I'm quite looking forward to that. Maybe that'll be what I'll be talking about. Maybe I'll talk about something else that's coming out. I'm really excited about Undertone, the horror from A24 about the Killer podcast. Which feels like a parody of a concept, but is apparently very, very good. So yeah, I'll write about something. There'll be Friday and Wednesday, and then obviously in 2 weeks the Backdrop will be back again. So yeah, check all that stuff out.
Easy peasy. Look at that. We did it. Normal streams the rest of the week. Famous last words. Like we mentioned, Nick and Jenna will be back in about 13 minutes. Nick's showing off some marathon, which he's gotten obsessed with. So check out for that. Normal Yahtzee tries tomorrow. More Returnal tomorrow. Like I said, Jack said him and Jess will be doing Dark Souls 2 on Thursday. We'll be back with the Firelink and everything. And I believe possibly a game night stream on Friday. But you know what? It's going to be a question. Listen, if this stream happens in 10 minutes, we got ourselves a stew going. That's one. That's one stream, baby. We got ourselves a stew going. Excellent. So for Darren and Jack and Eric, this was Marty. This was the Rewind, episode number 43. Thank you all so much, everyone, for tuning in to today's episode, for your super chats, for your patronage and everything. I really, really appreciate it. Everyone have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday, and hopefully we'll see you back here in 13 minutes for some marathon.
Bye everyone.